Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the regular city council meeting of Tuesday, January 18th at 6:01 p.m. Councilmember Edge, can you please start us off in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor Jordan,
Present.
Vice Mayor Flores,
Present.
Councilmember Edge,
Here,
Councilmember Friels.
He called in earlier today. He is excused.
And Councilmember Freeman.
Sure.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. This meeting will be conducted pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E1A. In order to minimize the spread of COVID-19 virus, the City Council is conducting this meeting by Zoom and will be offering alternative options for public participation. You are encouraged to watch the meeting live on Zoom or Facebook. Ceremonial items. Once again, I'm requesting that we push this back a month. Councilmember Friels can't attend and he requested that we push it back. Can I get a roll call vote on that, please? Please unmute yourself.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Edge,
yes,
Councilmember Freeman.
Yes.
With all members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4-0-0-1 with one council member absent, Councilmember Friels.
Thank you very much. Public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the council on matters not on the agenda. The law does not permit council action or extend discussion of any item not on the agenda except under special circumstances. If council action is requested, the council may place the matter on a future agenda. Consent items. All matters listed under the consent agenda may be enacted by one motion, authorizing action indicated for those items so designated. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless requested by a member of the city council, a staff member, or a citizen. May I have a motion, please? Or does anybody, I'm sorry, anybody want to pull an item?
yes, I would like to pull B. It's
Sorry, what-
nothing big.
I'm sorry, which one?
B as in boy.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilmember Freeman, Vice Mayor Flores,
No. No.
thank you. Are there any members of the public that wish to pull an item?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. Discussion on item B.
I would like for us to approve minutes no later than a month. This is November's minutes and we don't have December meeting minutes in there. So I would like to see us be current.
I will certainly work on that.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please, on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you very much. Roll call.
Moment, please. Councilmember Edge,
yes,
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Jordan.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes unanimously 4001 with one council member absent.
Thank you. Presentations, proclamations, informal items and reports. Drought response and water conservation presentation by Sean Novak, Water Resources Association. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you very much, everybody. I guess I don't know who's going to operate my slides, but I do have a presentation. There we go. First of all, my name's Sean Novak, and I'm the manager of the Water Resources Association of San Benito County. We represent the city of San Juan Bautista, the San Benito County Water District, city of Hollister, and the Sunny Slope County Water District for all their water conservation and water resource protection programs. So next slide, please. So I'm here tonight to talk about the drought. We got a lot of rain in December. Some people think the drought is over, but as you'll see, we're not, unfortunately. So you might have recalled we had a huge drought starting in 2011. That kind of wrapped up in March of 2019 with just a small area down Southern California that was abnormally dry. Then we saw drought conditions start to expand and worsen in 2020. And then we all remember the horrible wildfires at the start of the pandemic during that summer. And conditions continued to deteriorate in 2021. So in April 2021, the governor declared a drought emergency. Next slide, please. Now, just a lot of you who are not familiar with our water supply, this slide kind of tells you we have three different sources. You look at the top of the illustration there, you can see San Luis Reservoir. That's where water from the Central Valley Project is kept. And then there's a pipeline there to the left of that San Luis Reservoir verbiage there. And you'll see that blue line that comes through the Pacheco Pass, and right about Casa de Fruta, it splits in two, with one conduit going up north to Santa Clara County, then the other one coming down to our county. You can see that it roughly follows along Fairview. There's several turnouts there for different ag concerns to tap into, as well as small parcels. Goes down to about Airline Highway, down to Union. We can fill up San Justo Reservoir with that water. And when they're not pumping water from San Luis, we can backflow it. So water goes from San Justo back up towards the pass. Then the pipeline terminates down in San Juan Bautista. You'll also see those little water spigots there. Those are wells with Sunny Slope, City of Hollister, and San Juan Bautista. We have a reservoir way down in South County called Hernandez Reservoir. That water is used to keep the river as wet as we can keep it and help percolate that water into our groundwater basin so those wells have water. Then the last water supply is right in the center of that picture. That's the reclamation plant from the City of Hollister. There's a pipeline that goes from the reclamation plant out towards the airport, where a lot of farms can tap into that. So we're very lucky to have these different portfolios of water for us. Next slide, please. Now, our groundwater basin is really a huge asset to us. You can see here in this slide that our local groundwater basin holds approximately 500,000 acre feet of water. All the reservoirs in our county, that's Hernandez, Piscinas, and San Justo, combined only hold 43,000 acre feet. So our groundwater basin is a huge backup supply for us. And I threw in there San Luis Reservoir. When it's full, it holds 2 million acre feet, just as a comparison, so you can see how much our groundwater basin can hold. Next slide, please. Now, I took this slide, it was about 12 days ago. And this was right after we got all those rains in December, and it's really helped out a lot. That red part, which is more of the severe drought, was expanded all the way down to Southern California in November, in a large swath through the middle of our state. So we've actually gone down a few categories, which is great, but we're far from being over this thing. Next slide, please. And as far as our imported water goes, this really tells a story here. If you look at those blue bars, that's the water that was current in the reservoirs on January 6th. The red line is what tells the story. That's a historical average for that date. So most of the reservoirs are well below that, with the exception of a couple over there on the right there. So we have a long way to go until we're caught up with our historical average, and a long way to go until they're filled to capacity. So it's not looking good for our imported water as of right now. Next slide, please. So what are we doing? We have our groundwater basin, which is wonderful, but it's like a checking account. You can't keep taking money out without putting anything back in there and expect it to be full. So that's what our imported water does, and along with giving really good quality water to the farmers and the small parcels, it helped percolate our groundwater basin. So what are we doing right now? Next slide, please. We got together with the 4 major water retailers, Sunny Slope, City of San Juan Bautista, City of Hollister, and the San Benito County Water District. And we have an urban water management plan where there's a water shortage contingency plan contained within that plan. So we decided to implement stage 1, which is voluntary water conservation. Next slide, please. That entails these actions right here. Most are focused on landscape watering. And, of course, if you have leaks or breaks, to try to attend to those immediately. Businesses were asking to only serve water on request at restaurants, and hotels with their linens to only change when they're requested to do so. Next slide, please. This slide kind of shows you why we focus on landscape irrigation in the residential setting. As you can see, over 54% of residential water use is dedicated to landscape. So that's why we target that, because the inside is mainly for health and safety concerns and things like that. So irrigating outside is not always necessary. Next slide, please. We also focus on people. It's not that we're against turf, but we like people to use turf and not just use it for decorative purposes. It has a function like for animals and kids and entertaining, something like that. And the reason why, you can see these figures right here. Just a 500 square foot section of turf uses 750 gallons of water per month, or 9,000 gallons per year, which is a lot. So we're trying to promote plants that are more appropriate to our climate and rainfall. We get about 11 to 13 inches of rain per year, whereas turf needs 60 inches of water per year to make it green and lush. So that means you have to supplement your watering. So we had a turf removal program in the depths of the last drought. It was very successful. We got over 100,000 square feet of turf removed. We calculate that almost 1.8 million gallons of water are diverted from turf irrigation each year because of that removal of that turf. Then we have something else working in our favor. In 2010, the Hollister urban area, they passed the model water efficient landscape ordinance. Sunny Slope follows it. It's required out of all new building. So the main thing is that new ordinance promotes efficient water use in new and retrofitted landscapes, and only 25% of the landscape area they're allowing turf. So that helps out our cause there. Next slide, please. So what we're doing right now is continuing our focus on urban irrigation and water-wise landscape education and outreach. I'm starting off the year by doing presentations such as this to let everybody know where we stand. I also am going to put out more water conservation reminders than I normally do. And I've established a water waste email address for residents to report water waste, but I'm going to hold off on that until we get a little more into the irrigation season. Then I'm asking all water agencies to review their infrastructure for leaks and repair them immediately. Next slide, please. I'll continue through the late winter and early spring and producing some videos for schools, do some virtual workshops for agricultural customers that will not only focus on water efficiency, but also on nutrient management to help keep our groundwater basin as good a water quality as possible, and soil management, which is key to using water efficiently and keeping it healthy. In April, that's when Earth Day usually happens there. I'm also going to start a little earlier this year. Usually I wait till May when I start encouraging efficient irrigation practices. And I'm also going to have much more advertisements and things like that going out starting in April. That's also a time of year I usually put out the Water Resources Association newsletter. Next slide, please. Then we continue into May, which is really the official start of our irrigation season around here. I do go around to the various agencies and councils to get them to proclaim May as Water Awareness Month. Kind of brings a focus to water at that time of year. We do banners, ads, articles for the local media. The farmers market in Hollister starts up right around then, so we'll have a booth down there. And then I'll give some updates to councils and boards at that time. Next slide, please. We're asking customers, if you can, replace your turf or grass with water-friendly garden, drought-tolerant plants. These other things my agency can help with as far as water-efficient equipment. We have free toilets for those that have toilets older than 1992. Because if they're older than 1992, they're flushing from 3.5 to 7 gallons per flush. The new toilets only use about 1.3 gallons per flush. So collectively, these actions make a big difference in our community. We also have faucet aerators, hose nozzles, things like that, and shower heads as well. And those are all free to all the people that I'm trying to reach tonight. I'm also asking people to, kind of go dirty for the drought. If you do decide you need to get your car washed, I do know all the car washes here in Hollister recycle their water, so that helps out. Make sure and water plants early in the AM or at night. And shut off your irrigation system when rain is imminent, or better yet, get a rain sensor if you have a portal for that on your controller. And we have rebates on those, so if you need to get one, so you can call me at my office about that. Also asking people to use a broom, sweep down your driveway instead of a hose whenever possible, and repair leaks immediately. My agency has a free service where we can go out and check your home for leaks and make sure your house is efficient and not wasting water. If you have a pool or spa, it makes a big difference to put a cover on it. Not only does it keep the water from getting dirty, but it keeps it from evaporating. In the summertime, you can actually lose about 2 to 3 inches a day in a pool. So having a cover on there stops that. Next, please. So just to give you an idea of the water use in the Hollister urban area in 1998, our water use was 220 gallons per person per day. In 2020, we went down to 117 gallons per person per day, which is almost in half of what we did in 1998. So that's really great. In 2015, during the last drought, the state mandated a 25% reduction in water use from pre-drought levels for every Californian. I'm very lucky the California urban area exceeded that amount, not by a huge amount, but we did exceed it to 28%. And I just wanted to show you if 25% reduction mandates are in place in 2022, if the state decides to go in that direction, we'd have to drop to 88 gallons per person per day of water use. Next slide, please. So when we go in that direction, we'll probably, I think the best action would have the turf removal program again, because you saw those numbers and how well we did. We've also thought about maybe coming up with an incentive. We do have free WaterWise landscape plans that are available on our website, or they can call me, I can mail them out to people. But we thought we'd give an incentive for people to actually complete those plans and offer a $250 gift card upon completion of the WaterWise landscape transition. Okay. And then I do know a couple of the agencies are working on a leak notification program. Right now they do, Sunny Slope in the city do review people's water use. If they see an unusual spike, they will notify them, but this is going to be like with technology that will notify them like in real time, which is great. So we're seeing technology kind of catch up with us here and help our cause. Next slide. Along those same lines, there's some social media platforms out there that help people with environmental actions. I've been talking to Integrated Waste and Recology about maybe bringing this platform. It's called Bright Action to our area. And it's not mandatory. It's just try to get people on board. And this way they can compare with people in other parts of our community, give out helpful hints. I can get in there and add helpful hints and things like that to create a little bit of a buzz around water conservation. And we think that might help. And it's a very cost-effective way to reach people. So that's about all I have. Next slide, please. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
If we can go through the council first, Council Member Edge.
Yes, Sean, thank you so much for that presentation. And I was just, thinking to myself, I guess I've been through several droughts, so I automatically do all the things that you listed. But then, of course, we have the younger people that maybe aren't that used to conserving. But I was just kind of wondering, children are usually very good at passing on the word to their parents. Do you have any kind of a campaign targeting, say, kids under the, 8th grade or younger to?
The pandemic's made it a little challenging, but
Oh, yeah.
we
God.
do have a program. I try to target 4th or 5th grade because they start getting into the earth sciences and start studying the water cycle at that
Yeah.
time. Plus, I reach all the way into the high school because we start talking about careers on that too. And the year before the pandemic, we had 1,200 students. We either gave live presentations or took them on field trips to the water treatment plant or the wastewater plant. So that I'm hoping to continue that soon because I agree with you. Children are great missionaries for the cause,
Yeah.
and that was working out quite beautifully. So that's why I'm thinking of maybe making some videos for the kids to be able to look at school on their Zoom platform or whatever platform they're using, and maybe give them ideas like that till I can go back in the classroom. But yeah, that's an excellent idea for sure.
All
Any
right.
other question?
Thank you for your presentation, Sean. It was very good.
You're welcome. And I
Thank
want to
you.
remind the public that's out there to, my number is 637-4378. That's 637-4378. We can offer a free leak check. We can assess your irrigation system and make adjustments if necessary. And like I said, we have shower heads, faucet aerators, hose nozzles, a lot of things to help you be efficient with water, and it's all free. So please take advantage of our agency. Any other questions?
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Flores?
No questions, but comments. Thank you, Sean. Very informative.
Thank you,
gonna
Sadie.
give you a call- I'm gonna give you a call. I'd like for you to make a presentation, that same presentation.
I would love to. I would love to. So, okay, thank you for having me tonight, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sean, we're not done yet. We're not done
Oh.
with you. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, thank you. Great presentation. Thank you, Sean. I really appreciated it. I have just one quick question. I think I heard you said there were some rebates available for low flow toilets. Are those still, how do we go about getting those? And
Yeah. Well, we have two programs on that, Councilmember Freeman. We have either free toilets that people can pick up from our shop over there at the San Benito County Water District on Mansfield and Hollister. Or they can go out and buy whatever toilet they want, because sometimes people want special color, they want the higher ones or whatever. There's a myriad of ways that people want toilets. But as long as your toilet is older than 1992 and you get your water from the city of San Juan Bautista, city of Hollister, or Sunny Slope County Water District, then you would qualify. And if you're not sure what date your toilet was put in, you can take the lid off the tank, flip it upside down. There's usually a date stamp underneath the lid pressed into the porcelain. And if it's not there, it's inside the tank where the water is, right about the water level. You'll see a marking there. And all the new ones right behind the seat, there's a little flat part between the seat and the back of the tank there. And they usually have the manufacturer's name like Toto, American Standard. All the new ones will say 1.6 GPF or less. And GPF means gallons per flush. So if it's 1.6 gallons per flush or less, it's already a new toilet and would not qualify. But that doesn't mean that toilet might not be working right. And that's another thing we can help you with. Maybe the flapper's worn out. And we can go out there, look at it, assess it for you. And we carry flappers and the plungers on there to help you rebuild that toilet. So if you don't think your toilet's working well, what I suggest to people is at night before they go to bed, put a couple drops of dye in the tank. And if you wake up in the morning and you see that colored water in the bowl, that means you have a bad flapper between the tank and the bowl. So we would be able to help you with that, okay?
thank you. I appreciate that. Might take you up on it.
All right.
Thank you very much. Sean, do you anticipate, or can we anticipate a mandatory rationing coming down?
They were talking about it, and then we got that big dumping of rain and snow in December, and that kind of changed things. But I don't want to give people false hope, because this happened in that last drought. We got a really big rainstorm and snow in December, and then it was like January 1st, the heat started coming up, and all that snow melted and sucked into the ground before it reached the reservoir. So we still have a ways to go here before we actually know how this year is going to shape up. I'm hoping for the best, but planning for the worst, and so far I haven't heard anything from the state on what they're going to do. And I think they're kind of waiting to see how this plays out as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
I encourage all the folks to go to the Water Resources Association website. Very informative. Sean's been doing videos forever. Some of them are on YouTube, Sean, correct?
That's correct. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you can get links online to the videos. And definitely, I also encourage the community to use the resources that San Benito County Water District has to offer. Toilet rebates, free shower heads. They're low flow, but they're free. So please reach out to Sean and the association at www.wrasbc.org, or Sean's number again, printed on your screen below, 831-637-4378. And Sean, if you'll stick around for a few more moments to see if we have any questions from the community.
Be glad to.
Mayor, I don't see any hands raised at this time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Sean. Thanks again for this presentation, and great questions from the council on this one. The council always has great questions. But yeah, a little bit more information that they pulled out of you. That was nice to hear. Thanks again, Sean.
Yeah, and I just want to remind everybody, we're a local resource. We're right here in Hollister. We go out to San Juan. We're free service. So please take advantage of this service. It not only will it help all of us as a community for our water supply, hopefully we'll save you a few dollars too on your water bill. So that could be helpful as well. But anyway, thanks again for having me,
Yes.
everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
Sean.
All right, bye-bye.
Next up, we have our treasurer's report and monthly financial statements by our city treasurer, Michelle Sabathia. Take it away, Michelle. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Good evening. Happy New Year, Mayor, council
Happy New
members,
Year.
everyone. Awesome. So let's just jump into it. So for our general fund, our year-to-date net effect currently is still a positive balance of $308,000. The month-over-month change was an increase of $256,000. So the reason for the increase is mainly based on a grant adjustment that was recorded in June. But after further discussion, so when Wendy had a couple of discussions with our auditors, and they decided that it would be most appropriate for the funds to be recorded in the current fiscal year, which would be this month, since that's when the funds are going to be used. So that's what's driving the increase there. On the expenditure side, I would say for the warrant listing, you have it in front of you. It was a pretty light month, but some of the normal vendors that stood out would be CSG Consultants. No backdated invoices there right now, so that's great. It's a fee that we pay for our city engineer and our city inspector. The next thing that stood out was just Harrison Associates, which we leverage for our urban growth committee. And I was advised that we might be moving to a different contractor vendor in the future, but right now we're leveraging them. Very immaterial dollars, not too high. And then the next one would just be Bartle, Wells and Associate, which relates to a rate study for water and sewer. So those were the things that stood out to me. Moving down to the Water Enterprise Fund, year to date, our net effect is currently still a positive balance of $170,000. The month over month change there was a decrease of $28,000. The revenues are still in line and in budget, running at about 40%. I think we're seeing the decrease in the revenues mainly driven by seasonality right now. So we should expect to see that pick back up in the next couple of months. So I think it's just timing. So nothing to be alarmed on there. On the expenditure side, I would say that there's nothing material to call out right now. And on the Sewer Enterprise Fund, year to date, our net effect is still a current positive balance of $142,000. The month over month change there was a decrease as well of $41,000. And then speaking with Wendy, which was super helpful, the revenues are still in line with budget. running at about 41%, but we're seeing a decrease, which is mainly related to the drop in the industrial user revenue. Nothing alarming, but it is something that caught up to us, right? On the expenditure side, I would say there's no new material callouts as well, nothing big that stood out. So that kind of covers it for now. I know I was unavailable last month. So if you do have questions, feel free to call me, email me, I'm available. I would say if we're looking at the warrant listing from the prior month, things to call out would just be our big contract with Stantec Consulting. So that's one thing there, right? It's a big contract that we have. So we're going to see big dollars coming around. The more we leverage them, the more you're going to see bigger dollars spent there. So it's just part of our contract, nothing alarming. And then again, right, the next bigger item that we saw for the prior month was CSG consultant, and that's a monthly recurring thing. And we did see some backdated billing there. So we're trying to have them stay up to date, but there was a couple of backdated items there. And then on that, the next big thing to call out would just be our quarterly billing or our quarterly payment with the San Benito County Sheriffs for law enforcement services, right? So this is something that we give out, or so that we pay out quarterly. So that was quite material as well. Some of the larger items that I noticed. But that's all I have for now, unless you have questions.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Edge?
Well, Michelle, as always, you've done a great job, and I had questions, but you answered my questions. So now I don't have any. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores?
No questions, but comments. Great presentation. Thank you. Very clear.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman?
Thank you, Michelle. Just following up on what Caesar and Mary said, great job. No real questions right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Deputy City Clerk, do we have any public comment?
No, Mayor, I don't see any hands raised.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks. 5C, City Manager's Report. Take it away, City Manager. Please unmute yourself.
There we go. Okay. All righty. Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. Just a few slides on the City Manager's update. Not that bad. All right. Some of the goals that I was thinking about over the holidays for this month and heading into this year, some of them are on this agenda. The reimbursement agreement for the gas station is in draft form. We made some progress on it in December. We hope to wrap that up. We have a meeting with the Loaiza's attorney on their subdivision, and we hope to move that forward this week. Storm drain issues in Rancho Vista, which I'll touch on with a few photos in following slides. The COVID prevention plan is on the agenda tonight, and so it's a mid-year budget. And then the industrial users and getting them in line with our Hollister Force Main project. We made a lot of progress in December, and we want to keep that flowing. Keep them in line with what we're doing in our status here in January. And then make the water and wastewater work. We're working on the EPA's administrative order and consent. The water board finds the topic of closed session, several meetings in a row. And the import of water rates started last Monday with the meeting with the water district, and then sharing those with our financial advisor, our municipal advisor, looking for grants and things, ways to keep the import of water in reasonable status as we head towards a water rate study. So that's just a quick overview. Over the holiday, we did have some on-call efforts that I thought were outstanding. Staff responded on Christmas Eve to a private sewer lateral block, and we're successful after 3 hours, almost till midnight on Christmas Eve, unclogging that block. So my hat's off to our maintenance staff, in particular, Armando Venegas. He was awesome that night. Thank you, Armando. And then staff, as Sean pointed out, on the 27th, we just had a deluge of flooding. We flooded in 3 different areas in the town. And then much of the flooding issues related to private parties around our borders, with the exception of Rancho Vista. So these are some pictures from Rancho Vista from 8 in the morning. That's our lift station, about 8 inches underwater. And you can see below at 10:30 how that water resided. We came in with sandbags and diverted the water. This is just a quick example of what that looked like at 8 in the morning on Monday. Basically, the wood chips got in and clogged the storm drain. So thanks again to Nick and the crew for responding that day. We did a great job. We didn't suffer any permanent damage. This is what the storm system looked like. You can see the upper pond here flowing into the lower pond, and the way the fence is designed to allow the water to splash through. But one thing that happened here is we have the Creek Bridge stormwater system going underneath this ledge, and that pipe was exposed and clogged. So we have water overflowing here from Creek Bridge and from the canyon behind these homes here, up by the barn, the Christopher House, and way back in here, coming underneath 156 into this same drainage area. This is how this pipe here at the Lavanino Bridge gets within an inch of being at maximum capacity. I mean, that's a 4-foot pipe. That's how full it was that day. This is the home behind Rancho Vista. You can see how it's surrounded with water, and these are the land behind the homes on Rancho Vista, 3rd Street, just completely flooded and inundated from the water coming down. So the system maxed out. It performed fairly well, actually, but if it had continued to rain, we would have seen a lot more flooding down there. This is all flooding into a storm drain that heads towards Anzar High School down Sunland Highway. And I learned later that the county public works were downstream from us, unclogging that storm drain, making sure that our water had a place to flow. So it was a real team effort on that day. This is a picture of the Alameda right here, San Juan Hollister Road, heading south. There we had about 4 inches of water coming off this private property here. These dead trees caused a true flash flooding event where it burst all at once and got clogged up on this little bridge here and flowed in. But by noon, we had the property owners' attention. We were meeting with them, and they've already cleaned up the riverbed. And then we're talking to the property owners above them too, to make sure that this water flows freely and doesn't have a threat to the homes along the Alameda there. So that was a really great effort on the 27th from our staff, our maintenance staff, responding to these issues. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. Now, one more, we have a problem here. This is Mission Vineyard Road, and this is looking south outside the city boundaries. So this V channel here was reformed by the person farming this property, and this water just came across in sheets over into the Diaz property over here. So it flowed to the west into the Diaz property. And this little pipe here is just an example of some of the clogged systems along Mission Vineyard Road that we had to deal with, mostly from silt coming across from the farmland. So we've been in touch with County Public Works and the RMA Director, Mike Chambliss. They've been super helpful and cooperative. They cleaned out the bridge here right down at the very end next to Highway 156. So that was almost completely clogged, and they're working on that to help clean that out for us. So we've got a lot of help from our friends, and that's great. This is kind of the extent. I think if we're going to have flooding problems, this is it. We have the issue by the soccer field with the creek going down by the school, but it did well. It did well during this time. So that's just an overview for those who haven't seen these pictures. So we have met with property owners. We've met with the city engineer. This is immediately following the New Year's holiday. The city engineer placed Meritage on notice, the developer, that they had sufficient deficiencies in their program. So we still have their bonds, their $2.3 million that we're holding on to as leverage to make sure that Meritage responds. And this week, the landscape contractor is responding and cleaning up the property at Rancho Vista. So for those of you who are listening from Rancho Vista, we're on it. we needed to assess the damage before we could get it cleaned up, and that's the direction we're heading now. So with that, we have some staffing and HR things to review with the council tonight. Some of you may know that Trish Pitts, our Deputy City Clerk, Administrative Services Manager, retires March 8th. So in her, expecting her retirement, we've already got a contract with the Resource Government Services to help us draft a job description. I found a job description for Deputy City Clerk, HR Officer from the city of Exeter that seemed very comparable to ours, with the focus on clerking our boards and managing HR. So that's what we're working from. Spent 90 minutes with Trish trying to figure out everything she's picked up over the last 20 plus years working with us. And so it's taken quite a bit to prepare for her absence. I don't look forward to March 8th. We didn't have a city clerk for the March City Council meeting to help us put the packet together and clerk the meeting. RGS is recruiting for us today, looking for a retired city clerk to sit in the interim and help us run our meetings until we can get the position filled. I look forward to getting a schedule from RGS and when the job description will be written and subsequently approved by the council and the position recruited. And secondly, our city attorney, Deb Mall, is retiring in March as well. Her firm has selected a replacement. He pinch hit for her while she was in Europe this past summer, and he's a real go-getter, a real attention to detail person. So I look forward to working with him. The law firm is ready for transition. We'll hold the line now, and if the council deems appropriate, we can issue an RFP in the spring and prepare for July 1 selection of a new city attorney, or to retain Wellington as our firm to represent us as they have well for the past many years. I think Deb's been with us more than 10 years now. And then thirdly, our engineer, Julie, is retiring. So we met with CSG before the holidays. They suggested that we issue a new RFP for city engineering services. We have that prepared and ready to go out. We're selecting a new interim city engineer in the next week or so to hold us over until June 30th. And we'll hire a new city engineering firm by June 30th, by the end of the fiscal year. RGS is helping us with that. They're also helping us with other RFPs. So we'll be ready for our budget when it comes in April and May. So those are 3 big changes for us, all in the next 6-7 weeks. Private security, we have an RFP going out tomorrow to solicit bids for the community hall. We're doing well with level 1, and they are negotiating a contract with the renter coming next weekend, or January 29th. So we hope to get a list of providers for renters to select from after that. Of course, level 1's invited to participate. We are spending about $100,000 a year on private security. So we are considering an RFP to look at the 3-year contract expires. So it's time to do an RFP for those services as well. So that's the update on the private security. Acoustics at the community hall. I was able to find a private vendor, kind of a Lowe's for acoustics, if you will, a large national retailer who sells acoustic treatings for buildings. And they're putting a study together for us on our community hall based on the 2017 study that was done. That study came forward with a very extensive and expensive list of improvements. And we have $50,000 in the budget for this. And I'm hoping for something quicker and more efficient from this vendor, so we can find a way to resolve issues acoustically at the community hall sooner than later. We'll talk about that a little bit under budgeting and under grants later in the agenda today. City Council chamber upgrades. I have 2 really good vendors out of the 6 that we sent our specifications to, and I'm doing job walks with them tomorrow and Friday, and the bids are due February 5th. If we can award the contract February 5th, maybe we'll get our City Council chamber updated as soon as we can meet in public. That would be awesome. So I wanted to let you know that that's moving forward. We'll come back with a contract for that. Parks, I think we've talked before. The park at Franklin Circle has a community meeting, the week of January 25th. I wrote this slide after I spoke with the city engineer. And then Veruti Park I've got a January 18th start date. So they are ordering the prefab restroom and getting that spec'd out for installation in March and installation and completion in April. Of course, we have the Luck Park Master Plan. We hope to receive a final poster and a published master plan for that park so that we can use that to seek park grants. There's a huge park grant opportunity coming, which I'll speak to under the budget. February 1st is the deadline. So what else are we working on? Community development has been busy coordinating the Casa Rosa development and then coordinating with adjacent property owners. Some of you have been copied on emails with that. It's really between the two private property owners, but where we can, we were able to force the Casa Rosa developer to get a survey in order to assure everyone that the property lines were accurate, and working through the historic preservation issues as well. Brian's done a great job staying on top of that. Brian, our assistant city manager, also conducted the very first economic development advisory committee meeting. Very exciting, so exciting that they're having another one tomorrow. We had great attendance, lots of enthusiasm. So that committee is going really well. Great job for Brian. We have an outstanding issue with transit occupancy tax not being paid by one of our hotels. So we had to get the city attorney involved. And so we're aggressively pushing to get more than $300,000 in back due payments due to us. Want to let the council know about that. Any more questions, be happy to talk offline. We are enforcing our plastics ordinance. Our single-use plastics ordinance went into full force and effect January 1st, 2022. So the Integrated Waste Management is working with Rich Brown, our code enforcement officer, and most of our businesses are in compliance. They've come a long way in the past 6 months. The council gave them almost a year to get their inventory straight and so forth, and it seems to be effective. So I want to let you know we have not forgotten that, and Rich is on it January 1, 2022. In this agenda, we're talking about, I put water and wastewater back on the discussion item, as well as COVID. We've got our mid-year budgets, intergovernmental committee and homelessness. SB 1383 is all about the edibles and implementing that ordinance that's going into effect, and our COVID response, which changes as often as lunch today. So I'll have an update for you there. We're buying the engineering module for our iWorks system. So we're continuing to streamline our permitting and better integrate engineering reviews of our plans up front. We're working with business assistance. The business forum is still active. And we talked about COVID and enforcement and equalizing each business so that they know that the masks are required when people are inside their businesses, that it's uniform across the board. So that's kind of the stuff we're doing there. And then I'm ready to go to the next item when you are, Mayor. I hope there are questions. I'm happy to answer them. I try not to go too.
Thank you very much. I just have a quick comment. I'm getting a couple of text messages that says the city's website is not allowing you to open the link to the agenda, so you can't zoom in. You can only watch it from Facebook. And one of the persons who's been texting said that there's a server error, 404 file or directory not found. Just an
Okay.
FYI.
Okay.
So the agenda isn't available. So you can't click on the Zoom call from the city's website. Okay, sorry about that. And apologies to all who are trying to get in through the city's website. We'll work on that one. If you have any questions at all, you can dial in while you're watching live on Facebook. Our phone number is 669-900-6833, and you can press *9 to get in. Thanks. Sorry for that interruption, Don. Councilmember Edge, questions, comments, and concerns. That was one.
Well, going
powerful-
back to the Zoom, I don't know if it has anything to do, but I had a really hard time getting through. I spent like 5 minutes trying to to get in. So I don't know if it's connected or what, because I had to leave and then come back.
That has to do with our, how we come in as a outside person to a panelist
Oh,
and the switch over.
yeah, but it's all right. I did have a question, and Dawn, you go so fast, I forgot.
I'm sorry.
I
I did,
Wait, I made some notes. Let me see. I just made a real quick note. The private security, you were talking about you're going to go with different security companies for the events that we have at
at
the
the
community.
community hall, that was a discussion on the December agenda. That was the discussion on the December agenda. Just implementing
Okay.
the stuff we discussed.
Okay, and you know what? I missed that meeting. That was when my dad got sick. So, okay.
Oh, happy to talk to you about it more.
Okay, we can talk. And then also, the Rancho Vista and the Creek Bridge drainage, will that be corrected so that doesn't happen again? Or what's going to happen with that?
We need Meritage to clean it up so that it works. Right now, the pipes are full of silt, and that was part of the problem we were having on the 27th. So the city engineer and our inspector, they have the plans, and they've been meeting with Meritage, and they put them on notice. So that's something Julie promised she'd get done before she leaves. So
Oh,
I hope
okay.
I hope that happens. But we jumped right on it the day it happened, and real quickly after that. So
You're fading, Dawn.
I think we should be fine with that, but yeah, it just needs to be cleaned up.
Okay.
And
And Trish is, her last day is March 8th.
yes,
And when is Deborah's last day? What is it?
I'm retiring on March 1st, but then Bob Rathy will fill in.
Okay, well,
So you'll have a city attorney.
I'm surprised and sorry to see you going.
Oh, thank you, Mary.
And then Julie, how long will Julie be with us?
3 weeks, 3 more weeks, and she'll be gone.
Oh, wow. That's too bad. Okay, all right, thank you, Dawn. Thank you for
You're welcome.
your report.
Sorry if I went too fast.
It's all right.
Sorry. Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Flores.
No questions. The only comment I have, it's a good report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of comments. I was, I went up to the Bay Area this morning, and looks like the roundabout is finally beginning to take shape. I had to go around it, and I figured that's a good thing. So I decided to add that in there. I know there's a lot going on, and you kind of missed that, but it's improvement in one area, and hopefully it'll get done in the next month or two. I look forward to Meritage working on their drainage problems. It is a real problem, like Mary just said, and it needs to get fixed. And I'm sorry to hear that the 3 people are retiring. I think they've done a great job for the city, but I'm sure they'll be happy in their retirement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, congrats to Trish. Thank you very much for your service and staying on with us for another month or so. We appreciate all you've done for us. Deb, super excited for you. Have fun in the new chapter of your life. Have fun with that. Congratulations. Julie, congratulations. Thank you very much for all your services too. You have done an amazing job for the city, and we appreciate all you've done for us. Thank you. I also want to send a shout out to Public Works and the county crews for helping us during those rains. Thanks for working together. Thanks for all that you're doing for us. Don, awesome photos. Way to capture the beauty of all of that mess also. You spoke about level 1 and a 30% increase. What does that look like? What's our hourly rate currently, and what are they going up to?
Their hourly rate at the community hall was $33, went up to $45 an hour. It's about a 36% increase.
Oh, that's for the community hall.
Yes, we have a contract till June 30, so we're solid.
Okay, perfect. And other security companies, that falls in line with them, correct? Do you know how much?
I'm finding out. I believe it is accurate. I think their wage, their price is fair. But we'll find out when we get the solicitations back. I've identified about 15 potential service providers that we can have sign up on our list. We'll see how many respond.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thanks for reminding everybody about the plastics ban. Integrated is working with Rich. They will also work with all of our merchants to ensure that they are in compliance, and if not, how they can become in compliance or get into compliance rather quickly, hopefully. Sorry, people are texting in. The agenda, the screen that is showing now is for the phone numbers.
It also,
to call in if you have any. I'm sorry, what?
and if they have the Zoom app, the number is also presented.
Right.
And I just received a text that we're fixing the link online right now as we speak. So the link will be fixed.
Okay, awesome. So what has been showing for the last couple of minutes is our phone numbers and the Zoom link if anybody wants to call in. Chats are not open, or comments are not open on Facebook and Zoom because we can't see those. So if you have questions, comments, or concerns, please call in. Again, the number is 669-900-6833. So having said that, is there anybody from the public who wishes to comment on our city manager's reports?
No, Mayor, there aren't any hands raised at this time.
And no call-in numbers?
No.
Thank you very much. Reports from the city council presentation to their respective regional organizations and committees. Don, can you please take your screen down so everybody can see council? There we go. I hope you can all see us now. And again, now that I can see all of you all, congratulations to Trish, Deborah, and Julie. Thank you all for your services. We really appreciate everything you have done for us and your enjoyment in the future. Okay, Councilmember Edge.
I'll just
Anything
echo
to report?
I'd like to echo what you just said to all three of our people that are leaving us. I'm sorry to see all of you go. Anyway, yes, I do have, I have a COG meeting tomorrow, but I also have a report from last month. Rena and also the housing, the development, the California Department of Housing Community put on some numbers for the county. It includes Hollister and San Juan Bautista and unincorporated areas, and the numbers were high. And so we wrote a letter to the state asking them to and urging them to reconsider those numbers because they're too high. We already have a lot of traffic. Our streets are falling apart. Almost 50% of our residents in San Benito County travel somewhere else for their jobs. And then not to mention that, while they're coming, or when they come back, they spend their money somewhere else instead of spending it in San Benito County. So anyway, we brought up a lot of points, and so we're hoping that they'll reconsider those numbers. So and that it affects our housing element. So anyway, I'll keep you guys posted on that. And then the senior councils that we ended up getting or being one of 14 agencies to have a aging disability resource connection. It's ADRC. And so here in San Benito County, we're one of a few, and it's help for older citizens and disabled people, for them and for caregivers and whoever qualifies for this stuff. It's information. It's new here in San Benito County. They've worked very hard in getting it here. And anyway, it's an exciting time for the Seniors Council. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that presentation. Vice Mayor Flores?
Yes, I attended a couple lectures. I attended a homelessness meeting, and I can't give you all the details of that because it's too much, but we're represented there. The other is I attended a press conference where Zoe Lofgren was introduced, and I met her, and Rob Rivas was there, and so was Jimmy Panetta. So I met with all three of them, and I say, you guys, we need some help. What can you do? So I'm gonna follow up on them. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, thank you. We had an AMBAG meeting earlier this month. The focus was on RENA methodology. After the third time, this time we did not kick the can down the road. We actually voted on it, and we opted for option Z, which was a hybrid option, which means a variety of things. You don't want to get too technical here, but we're going to put the emphasis on housing around transportation centers so that the traffic on the streets is reduced, vehicle miles is reduced, vehicle miles traveled is reduced, and congestion is reduced, and all that type of stuff. We have the same problems that COG does. For example, if you live in Monterey or Pacific Grove, you have these RENA numbers that tell you have to build 2,000 new dwellings or new homes, and then you have the state water board saying you cannot have a connection. So a home is then uninhabitable if it does not have running water. So there's two state agencies in direct conflict with each other. One telling you to build 2,000 units, the other saying, no, you can't have a connection. So the state has a lot of things to work out, and that's above our pay grade, and it's going. And on a little personal note, I was elected vice president of AMBAG, and intergovernmental. We had a meeting and we talked mostly about Gavilan College, and I think Leslie, the mayor, will speak more on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I attended the water resources meeting, and the biggest thing that came out of that was the presentation that Sean Novak shared with us mere moments ago. And just to reiterate, there are lots of resources available to the city of San Juan Bautista from the Water Resources Association. Looking at all of the numbers that are generated for rebates, San Juan uses Sean's group very little, and free, open to us, call them, get help with leaks, with rebates, with anything, any concerns you have about conservation, or better ways to conserve, different ways to conserve. I mentioned last meeting that I had met with Congresswoman Lofgren in early December and in November about questions on what the Congresswoman will be doing for us. We have a couple of more meetings scheduled on where we're going and what San Juan Bautista needs from her office and from her. She said she was working closely with Congressman Panetta, old friends, went to school together, share commonalities, and will be working together closely on this new redistricting and what both areas need from each other. So we'll still see the effects of Congressman Panetta, and hopefully we'll get a meet and greet from Congresswoman Lofgren fairly soon. That's about all I have. Does anybody have any questions from the public about any of our meetings?
Mayor, I don't see any hands raised, but we do have a telephone caller out there. Could allow
Thank
them
you. Yeah,
to
you can let them.
speak.
Thank you. Welcome. May I ask who this is, please? And is this on questions, comments, or from council's meetings? Hi, please. Oh,
Yes, good evening, Mayor Jordan and Council.
hi, welcome.
And staff. Hi, thank you. This is Jackie Morris Lopez. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Yes, it was a little dicey trying to get into the meeting. Looks like there's only 2 people that are watching on Facebook. I think it's due to the technical issues that you're having. I wasn't able to look at the agenda. It's not available at this time, but I did have some comments regarding the city manager's lengthy report. And one question I had was as far as the
Jackie,
Meritage. Go ahead.
sorry, we're on the reports from the city council's reports now.
Okay. It's just a brief comment question because when Trish had said, does anyone have any questions about the manager's report, I was trying to get unmuted and raise my hand. And like I said, there was a lot of difficulty. It took me a good 20-25 minutes to just get on.
Understood.
But my question was, so if I can please ask the question, maybe the public also wants to know, is Meritage going to be billed for the city services to mitigate the flooding that happened a few weeks ago? I guess is my question. And my concern is that they are billed and charged for the city to take care of that property and the flooding. The comments I have for the ongoing councilman's reports or staff reports, councilman's reports, excuse me, is that I understand Councilwoman Edge is part of the COG committee. I was wondering if she could mention or someone could mention the next public hearing. I think it's really important that we have public commentary on that. I agree with everything she said. I did take part on listening to that at that meeting, the last meeting that she attended, but I believe there is another public hearing coming up, and I didn't hear her mention that date. And then I appreciate the reports that I heard from Councilman Freeman. I think it's pretty much all intertwined, that the state is in two conflicting positions with one agency versus the other. We're feeling the crunch and the grind to grow, but at the same time, our infrastructure is not able to handle it. And interestingly enough, at the COG meeting, I did hear Assistant Manager, City Manager Brian Fott, his angle on perhaps this group letter was to talk about resiliency in terms of, I think also how more cars on the roads, because we are bedroom communities, would affect global warming. But I really feel that is a strong point, but I feel we really need to go with what is concrete, which is lack of infrastructure. But thank you for the reports. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And just an FYI, the city website is now up. All the issues have been fixed. Thank you all for your comments on that. Thank you, Jackie, for jumping in. Councilmember Edge, do you have a date on the next COG meeting? Okay, thank you.
I do have,
Okay,
wait, our next COG meeting is Thursday, but I don't have a date on what she was talking about.
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your reports also. Action items. Adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista amending the budget. City Manager Reynolds.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the City Council, Wendy Cummings has joined us for this conversation. If you have detailed questions, she can respond. I'll share my screen. I have about 5 or 6 slides on this. We've been pretty busy working on our budget. I'm excited. This is the stuff that gets me. This is my geek button here, the city's budget. So we'll start, let's see, here we go. Here we go, right here, okay. And there we go, okay. So something we refer to as the budget cadence, the rhythm of the budget through the year. We're finally getting warmed up. It's our second year in a row of hitting the cadence without a COVID upset. The confusion we had in 2019 is starting to stabilize, and especially for our budget. So we were able to close our books ending June 30th in the late summer, and then audit was performed in the fall and presented to the council at the December meeting, clean audit, and then went through and confirmed our year-end assumptions that we made when we put our budget together. They were done conservatively, so we're out ahead, and sure appreciate Michelle Sabathia, our treasurer, giving the council a little insight as to how we're doing on a monthly basis. It makes this report a lot easier. So I'm reiterating a lot of what Michelle has to say, especially on the expenditure side. So tonight is our annual January discussion of mid-year budget adjustments. If things are after 6 months, if we're running short on money in some places but not in others, we can make some adjustments so that we come in on budget without any surprises. June 30th makes things a lot easier for our budget process. They'll start in earnest after our strategic planning. So we have strategic planning on the calendar, a budget calendar to be introduced at the regular meeting, February 15th, possibly February 22nd if necessary, and March 8th to talk about the strategic plan. This year, I don't anticipate bringing in a facilitator or doing anything dramatic. It's the third year of a 5-year plan, so we'll just see if there's some room for improvement, making it more efficient, see what we can do for our strategic plan. We're implementing a lot of that strategic plan now. We'll talk about the 3 initiatives we approved this year. So the draft budget will come together between March and April and be introduced at our regular meeting, April 19th. workshops May 10th and if necessary, May 17th, with a June 14th special meeting budget adoption. That's the same calendar I shared with you in December. I'm just giving you an update. The fiscal year 21-22 in review after 6 months. We established a community development organization a year ago, and we hired Brian, our assistant city manager. We established our 3 organizational initiatives with $100,000 each. That is the Urban Growth Boundary General Plan Amendment, the 3rd Street Master Plan, and the Public Safety Initiative. The status of all 3 of these initiatives is described in detail in the staff's report. The CIP focused on completing the 2021 park projects, and we spent the last 6 months wrapping those things up, and those parks are just getting started now, to include the Love Park Master Plan and our active transportation plan. So we have the 2 parks, and then the master plan and the transportation plan. So we had 42 projects on our CIP, $4.9 million cost. As of June 30th, we had completed 14 of those projects, $1.7 million. Much of that was the 3rd Street project. I began 14 new projects, which were the 4 parks projects and the Forest Main to Hollister were in this budget. We did not initiate 14 other projects, smaller projects, building facility upgrades and so forth, valued about $500,000. So that's why we talk a lot now about Rudy Park bathrooms, the park at Franklin Circle, the Love Park Master Plan. And you don't hear a lot about the Diaz lift station pump and controller upgrades, but those are happening the first 6 months of the year. We still need to do some work on the control panel out there. It's the Diaz lift station out on San Juan Hollister Road that services our filtration system, our iron and manganese filtration system. So without that being upgraded, we couldn't filter our water. So it's a very integral part to our whole system. We've been spending some money on that. In FY 21-22, our CIP will begin to focus next on streets. Thank you for bringing up the roundabout. Our city engineer spent a lot of time getting that roundabout started this past year. That's not on our CIP. That's on Meritage's CIP. But it's a very important street project that we've been focusing on. And Julie promised me this morning while she was here at City Hall that she would put a bid package together to overlay our 7 priority streets that are identified in what we call the pavement management plan. So we have a master plan for our streets. It describes the status of all of our streets and ranks them in an index. And our index is at 43%, and we want to try and get that to 80%. That takes a lot of money and a lot of time. So we're going to combine these 7 street projects into one bid package and try and get them done and initiated when the weather heats up in the spring, late and early summer. So that's the status of our capital improvement program as we are today. We've done a lot with grant writing. I was surprised when I put the numbers together and provided the table for the council. We've been awarded $1.5 million, 10 different grants since 2019. The state's awarded 5 grants and 5 of them are federal. And all of the 5 federal grant programs come through COVID-19 related response and relief funds. Different CARES Act, American Rescue Plan, et cetera. Those are the types of grants we're getting through the COVID-19 federal relief. And then we have 3 state grants that from the Housing Community Development. One of them paid for our accessory dwelling unit study that Brian works so hard on. And then the other 2 are for our parks. A Proposition 68 grant that pays $100,000 into the park at Franklin Circle and for Rudy Park, $77,000. And a couple months ago, we hired California Consulting to help us with additional grant work. And since they've been on board, they've come through with 3 grants for us. The 2 park grants I referenced earlier, and then a water grant, about $53,000. So California Consulting also, the last page in my staff report on this matter has 10 grants listed that they're currently working on. And the focus was initially going to be water and wastewater. So we have now applied and finished our application for the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, has a loan and grant program that will help us with our wastewater program. A very low interest, 1.1% interest loan. and up to 20% grant for the project. So that's super important. And then that's a federal example. And then we have state revolving loan fund money. When I look at the federal infrastructure bill, they're talking about giving that money to states to distribute to local government. So when I'm telling you that we're working with the state water board to get a revolving loan for our wastewater and water programs, those are federal monies that the state is handing out. So it gets a little bit confusing. Grants are super confusing. Other infrastructure that we're looking at are streets, of course, emergency power, and our facilities. So we have 3 or 4 new opportunities that California Consulting is looking at. Again, to look at parks and park improvements, planning and around the 3rd Street project, the master plan, and possibly the whole frontage of the Alameda along with soccer fields in the school district, and historic preservation. We've identified a few grants in historic preservation that California Consulting is going to help us pursue. So that's been a pretty lucrative contract for us. They have about 4 analysts assigned working on these different grants that you see listed in the back of the staff report. And then the American Rescue Plan, ARP status. The city is going to receive $500,000 in 2 payments. And the federal government made every effort to get that payment to us before July 1st, but it came in mid-July. Of this past 2021. And then the second installment should come a year later. They're thinking in June 2022. So in this staff report, we're talking about how to budget that first portion. Because in August, I provided for the council a draft, what they refer to as, federal government refers to as final rules. And we looked at the 5 priorities, including PP&E and hazard pay and the cost of preparing your job site with plexiglass and other things to protect the public and your staff. And then, of course, to restore lost revenues. That was our #1 priority back in August when we looked at it. And then the second and third priorities were programs and priorities for seniors and for teens. And the council felt back in August that seniors and teens were the most greatly affected by this isolation, this shelter-in-place rules that occupied us most through 2020. So those were the focus areas. And just last week, well, we'll get into this later. First of all, the discussion part of the staff report talks about the general fund as being very healthy. The general fund revenues are up. That we budgeted about $300,000 revenue in sales tax for the year, and we're at that point now at the mid-year. So the sales tax is behaving very strong. Expenses are 13% below budget, as the treasurer points out, when we have a current savings already of about $308,000 moving into year end. We have a reserve policy from 2015 that I mentioned in the staff report, and it recommends that we reserve 2.5 months of our operational fund. Well, our reserve is currently, unrestricted reserve is at 2.8 million, or close to 18 months. And we're going to add to that by June 30th. I'm not asking the council to consider taking from that reserve, except for the American Rescue Plan monies that I mentioned earlier. So we are looking very healthy, and we're getting stronger in our general fund. And our enterprise funds are holding their own as well. We talked about the strength of our water enterprise fund. We do need an increase because our operational expense is increasing. Running the plant with the microbe and the iron filtration system is a little more expensive than it was. So we need to add a little bit of money to pay our water operator. But we do expect still a year-end savings of close to $100,000. And I think Michelle's been sharing that with you. The wastewater revenues are at or below budget, breaking even compared to budget. And our expenses are at budget, maybe running a little bit high. We do have an additional capital improvement project for the wastewater treatment plant of $33,000 that we believe will go a long ways towards reducing the violations that we're incurring. So we were asked to look at that the last time the council and staff met. And so we've been looking at that, and we've got it included in this budget. So focus on the American Rescue Plan. The final rule came out just 2 weeks ago. And it has a very very generous way of qualifying how you want to categorize your use of funds. And it talks about, you can consider without question as much as $10 million to be applied to your general fund for lost revenue. We didn't lose near $10 million. We lost maybe $100,000. But if we can categorize it all under that category, and we can, that's the intent, is to make it simple and provide clarity for the use of these funds. And so with that, this $250,000 could all be put into the general fund. But as I just discussed our reserve, we have plans. And so I want to share those plans with you for that $250,000. We've been meeting with Michelle Huntoon in the school district, the Superintendent Huntoon and the school district to develop a joint use agreement. And this all started under the auspices of how do we get the basketball courts open to the public over at the San Juan School. And when we last, and I've also met with Teresa Lavanino about her track and field, $100,000 she's raised for that project, and how could we allow the public access to that when it's built. And so just last week, the superintendent and city manager agreed to the schedule for improvements to the San Juan School grounds that would allow the public access without allowing them access to the building. So when the school's not open, they'd have access to basketball courts, the brand new children's playground that's there, and eventually the track and field. This is a really aggressive schedule. I hope we can meet this schedule to have conceptual options for perhaps building new basketball courts or defining where the fence would go, a wrought iron fence, the linear feet and so forth. And then we would solicit proposals to build it. We go before the Aromas San Juan Unified School District Facility Committee, and with their approval to the city council and the boards by the end of April. So with that, great teamwork and cooperation from the superintendent and the school district, we look forward to moving forward on a program that talks about maybe as much as $175,000 from the city for at least wrought iron fencing and to open up those courts. The other issues that we've considered for the American Rescue Plan funds include business grants. In the past, the city has been helping distribute CARES Act money for 2 different business grant programs. Simple applications, 2 or 3 pages in length. We're handing out $1,500 up to $5,000. Some grants were as high as $15,000, not necessarily in our town. But we handed out about $21,000 each in each of those 2 programs. So we can create a new grant program with our ARP money. And I'm suggesting that we ask for $25,000 of the ARP money to go to that. And then in listening to a new business talk at Rotary a couple months ago, it's really hard for new startups because they're not eligible for the COVID money. You have to show that your business suffered a loss because of the pandemic. And when you've just opened your doors in the middle of the pandemic, you're already at a loss. I had no idea until I heard the presentation from SmokePoint how hard it's been for them to keep their doors open in these COVID times. And so I'm asking the council to consider a $20,000 grant program for new startups, for the new businesses in town, the retail businesses that started up during COVID that may need a little bit of help. So that's the $20,000 ask for that program, a total of $45,000 for new business grants. Of course, everything is about testing people for COVID right now. So last week we were able to order 200 kits, which are 400 tests for our employees, primarily for our employees. The library has received some testing kits and shared them with our public works staff this morning, Monday morning, Tuesday morning after a 3-day holiday. We were in conversation with every staff member that came through the door. How are you feeling? Any symptoms? You know, we're just really being rigorous about it this week and going forward. So I'm asking for $5,000 to buy these testing kits, which have already been ordered. So if they don't come from this fund, then we'll have to find another way to fund them. And then during the intergovernmental committee, there was talk of establishing a standing homeless committee among the 2 cities, the county and the Office of Education. So item 7B goes into this in more detail. but they are talking about whether or not San Juan would help fund a homeless coordinator position. And in item 7B, I discussed for the council that without an opportunity to apply for HUD grants and other things, this would have to come from our general fund. So maybe the city council would consider some seed money to get this started this first year, show our contribution. And I don't know, we can have that discussion. So I just throw that out there. The chief administrative officer asked me if we would contribute to this position. And I told him I would ask the council what they thought about that. So the budget in total then, out of $250,000, talks about $175,000 for the school facility joint use program, and then $25,000 for homeless programs, $20,000 for new startup business grant program, and then regular business grants for the older businesses, and then $5,000 for COVID tests. So that's the heart of the resolution, and the other adjustments are minor, just making some minor adjustments for our water operations, for example. And private security increased a little bit with some special enforcement we asked for. So otherwise, it's just minor things like that. And so for future considerations for 22, 23, to talk about senior programs, I haven't talked about them yet because I was focusing on the community hall upgrades, which we've already initiated. If we can get the community hall upgraded and perhaps the kitchen as well, then we can restart our senior meals programs there and have a daily senior program there until we find a permanent senior center for our seniors. And I know there's a group of community members who are real excited about a real senior center and a real senior program, a robust program. So it's there and it's available, and maybe the second half of these funds could be targeted towards that. If not, they could be used to further support the joint use programs and the teen recreation we talked about at the school. So that's a lot to consider for a budget upgrade, but I'm happy to go back and answer questions, especially about the recommendations. So Mayor, I'd be happy to also to hear people's comments and thoughts on the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And wow, thank you very much. Councilmember Edge, questions, comments, concerns?
Yes, now we're going to be making a motion to accept this budget. Is that correct? It's amending the budget?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no pressure or time restrictions. There's no, it's totally the city's choice. So if you want to change the recommendation in front of you, that's the way it's presented in the resolution now. If you want to put that off, that's fine. I just put it forward to start the conversation.
Okay, so the homeless program, the $25,000, if I were to make a motion to accept adopt this resolution amending the budget, well, are we going to be allocating $25,000 to the homeless program?
To see what happens with this subcommittee, if it is formed, if the other jurisdictions agree, and then they meet once or twice or three times. The CAO brought to my attention that they would like to hire a homeless coordinator. So that's just thinking that's 100,000 with the benefits and everything, 125,000. That would be our 5%, 10% share of that.
That would be our contribution to the homeless. So
I don't know if that's enough for too much, or
what was that?
I don't know if that's enough or too much. I just wanted to put it out there so we have a.
I think it's too much. We don't have, I don't know how many homeless we have here, but again, I didn't like having to give the over 200,000 back whenever it was that we gave it, either in July or August, I can't remember. But I think that's enough. And so I'm not in favor of contributing to this project here for somebody to hire somebody, an executive. But as far as the other things are concerned, I'm all for it. Now I can't remember what the heck I should have written my notes again. Can you go back to,
Yes.
I need to just, I think, I don't know if it's here. Oh, the COVID testing kits. So you need about $5,000 to buy COVID testing kits.
Yes, about 6 months supply.
Okay, all right. And so that is for anybody that might be feeling sick or have symptoms or something, and they can test themselves.
Actually, the fire chief was ready to come to City Hall last Friday with 20 kits and teach Trish and I how to help an employee with a self-testing kit. We do have a few employees who are not vaccinated, so they would be required under the policy on 7A on this agenda to every time they come back to work, presumably Monday morning, we would have a self-test, and staff would administer those for the unvaccinated employees to verify that they were not testing positive before they return to work every week.
Yeah, okay. And so are we going to come up with, say, for instance, guidelines if somebody ends up getting COVID, they're not vaccinated, they stay home, then when they are ready to come back, they need to get retested, but they would have to go to, say, for instance, Hazel Hawkins Hospital to get one of the I don't know what tests to be done.
There are two kinds of tests.
Yeah, rather than the kit, they would have to go to an institution where they get the real thing.
The State Department of Public Health just amended its policy this afternoon at lunch. And so I have that to talk about when we get to 7A.
Oh, okay.
Allowing for the rapid test.
I'm losing you again. I can't hear you.
They are allowing for the rapid test. The Hazel Hawkins test takes several days for results. And so it's a PRC test, I think. Some of you may know better than I do, but I have slides on that on 7A. And if you want, I can jump back and forth because it's kind of complicated to have these
No,
items.
that's okay. I can wait for 7A. I can wait. I just had one correction on, I was reading the little section that you had on our urban growth boundaries,
Yeah.
and you left my name out.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary. Oh, my gosh.
And I think you put Leslie in there.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Yeah, and so that's okay, right? I mean, if we vote on this, that my name isn't in there?
It's a concept. It's a concept.
Okay.
We're not changing that policy.
Okay, and that's all. Thank you, Don, for, my goodness, that's a lengthy, I don't know how you keep your head straight, honestly. Thank you so much. It was a great presentation.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Flores?
No comments. Good presentation. That's it.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, thank you, Don, for the great presentation. I also kind of, like Mary, would like to follow up on the donation to the county. We're about 5% of the county's population. So, and I do believe we need to participate. We need to have our voice at the table. We do have an occasional homeless problem. We do have an occasional homeless person. I walk the cemetery almost every morning. I'd say at least twice or 3 times a week, I see a car parked up there, and they're sleeping on the night away in the cemetery. That's fine with me, but homeless problems build and build and build and get worse and worse and worse if you let them go. So we need to have a seat at the table, and we need to have some skin in the game. I would suggest instead of 25,000 that we do 5% of the cost of this new person they're gonna hire. If it's 25,000, if it's $125,000, that would be about 10,000 bucks.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation to go with a percentage of approximately 5%. And I would talk that over with the CEO of the county, Ray, and see what he says. But that way, all the Hollister people can't badmouth us for saying that we're just getting a free ride and blah, 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 blah. So I do think we need to be careful. We don't want to waste too much money, but we need some skin in the game. Other than that, I agree with helping out our businesses. We need to, how can I say this? A little bit of water and fertilizer will help them grow and make us more money in the long run. So that's considering that money, seed money for them. So I think that's a good idea. Thank you.
That's a great recommendation.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Mary.
I forgot. Thank you, John. That I wanted to know about how many people or businesses that we have that weren't able to get any funding because they were under a year.
A handful, I would say 4 or 5
Okay.
that I can think of.
And do they have to be under a year to qualify to get this seed money?
Yeah, I'll work with Brian and we'll work it out.
Okay.
He's still in touch with the business forum, so, and then you and Leslie are part of that as well, so we'll work out the details.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. And John, that's a great idea with a 10%. $10,000 sounds a lot better than 25,000.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mary said something about me being listed versus her in the resolution on page 2. Now therefore be it resolved, number 1 says that the staff report submitted for the January 18th council meeting and its conclusions are hereby deemed to be true and correct and are made a part of this resolution by reference. So we need to change that. Thank you very much.
So noted.
I have lots of comments. Super excited to be seeing the sphere of influence and the urban growth boundary come in front of us. Long time in coming. Looking forward to that. The Diaz property, the Diaz lift station, and the nitrate removal plant. Where are we with that? Again, you mentioned it later on, and I apologize for not talking to you earlier about this, but you mentioned that there was going to be a potential increase to our water operator. Is that our staff or our contract operator? Are they operating the plant now? Is Microvy done? Are we still, sorry, multifaceted question here. Are we still going through the trial phase? Can we put it online as a real live plant? Sorry.
So that's okay. The contract for All Clear Water included a slight increase when the iron and manganese plant came on board. And yes, both staff and All Clear Water have been spending more time, especially getting the Microvy system started. So it has now gone through the trial and a final report was submitted to the Drinking Water Division of the Water Board in December. And we have dialogue back and forth as far as lab results and test results. And we expect the Water Board to certify and approve the use of the plant here within the next 2 months. So in mid-December, we hired the Wallace Group to work with the Drinking Water Division to amend our drinking water permit for blended water so that well 6 could then be reintegrated back into the system. And then Microvy has sent paperwork for a lease purchase option or however we want to structure arranging them with us. Of course, Microvy will continue to provide the maintenance and operations, but in a pinch, it's our staff and it's our operator that need to go out and then make adjustments. A lot of that is managed remotely.
Okay, wow, awesome, incredible. Very excited to see that plant go online for real. What does that increase look like, and will it be a full-on contract?
No, it's just $18,000 out of about an $80,000 contract. So the resolution, Exhibit B, adds $18,000 to the Water Enterprise Fund, and that's the purpose, is to make an adjustment.
Okay, and when is their contract due?
Actually, the contract that I came into doesn't have an expiration date on it. It needs to be rebid.
Okay,
It's at least 3 years old, yeah.
okay, so we'll be looking at that in a council meeting coming to a theater near you soon?
And as part of the budget process, yeah.
Thank you very much. The roundabout. It, driving on it backwards, I felt like I was in Ireland. It's higher than Rancho Vista? Is it going to be lower? Are we gonna get runoff now coming from both sides into the middle of the road?
The only, I'd have to ask the city engineer, and she's not on the call tonight. So I can get back to you with detail on that. The only, the stormwater drains towards the north, which is counterintuitive. But it drains towards north, towards Enzar School. And that's the same channel that all of Rancho Vista was draining into as well. So it would make sense that it drained towards that same channel. Because that's the one that all the properties there rely on and have for years. But I can ask the city engineer to get back to us on the drainage for that.
Okay.
I'm sure if you're driving around it, that the grading for the roundabout is done, and what you're sensing is probably right.
Okay. It's during the rainy season, it's a great place to kayak. The monies breakdown, I'm all with John and Mary on the homeless programs, the $25,000 versus
Okay.
10%.
5%.
We have given a lot for the homelessness in San Benito County, and we're not seeing a whole lot of fruits of our financial input. So yeah, I would ask that we also lower that to 10,000, and definitely have a seat on the table. Looking forward to that that group to start forming. COVID tests. Something came out today, and I don't know if I'm stealing your thunder or not, but at covidtestsplural.com, they're offering free COVID tests for kits for all families in the United States. And I understand that folks have personal reasons for not getting tested. I don't think that the city should carry the burden of a personal choice. I think that we should be responsible if we feel sick, that we should be getting tested on our own, and that should be a requirement. New business grants. I'm so thrilled that you came up with this. When you brought it up to me last week, I just had a big old smile on my face. Since the beginning of COVID, our businesses have done everything that they could to survive. And with the help of grants over the last 2 years, we have helped them a little more to thrive. Liz Turner was a really big asset in that respect, helping our business community. And it was sad to see that some of ours couldn't get them. But also exciting to see was that we had several new businesses come in during COVID, and that's huge. That says a lot for our city, our community, and our business community. So to give back a little bit, that was a really good call. Thanks for that. So yeah, I'm all for that business grant, and maybe we take a little bit off of the homeless programs and put that to that.
Okay.
Just my suggestion. I think it was in this conversation. Sorry, lots of really, really cool stuff in here that you talked about. Really thrilled. The partnerships that you have been developing with the school district. John has been asking for youth group stuff for a couple years now, and to further develop those partnerships with both the school district and Teresa Lavanino. Super cool. Looking forward to basketball courts for young and old, like the pickleball courts, a place for everyone in the community to use and to get that track up and running. Yeah, good times ahead. Hopefully it's a coming out of COVID and moving forward. We're putting us in a very good light. And I appreciate all that you're doing for that. Thank you all very much. Do we have any public comment?
I wanted that, Mayor, if I could
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't give Wendy a chance to talk, and I don't know if she has anything to say about the
Oh, she's
budget.
so. Hey, Wendy, welcome.
Sorry, Wendy.
Hi there. Hi, guys. Good evening. I guess the first thing I want to say is I did not get the memo on all the retirements that were going on. Nobody talked to me about that.
Neither did we. Don't feel bad. It was a throw-in.
Yes.
Don't worry, I'm not retiring anytime soon. But I feel a little.
Thanks, Wendy.
Anyways, yeah, your numbers are looking good, and I'm feeling pretty confident about the budget adjustments that Dawn is recommending.
Oh, thank you for that.
The ARP funds give the city an opportunity to enhance the fiscal services to the community, and I think that you guys are making good decisions there. Sales tax is coming in much higher than anticipated. We'll see what this next quarter does with inflation. Inflation at one point benefits us, right? But it also, the other hand, people start pulling back. So we'll see how we play out for the rest of the year. So we didn't suggest any modifications on the sales tax revenues. Everything else is coming in pretty much in line with budget, including your personnel costs. Departments are in line. There was nothing that was glaring on our budget analysis there in preparing for this meeting. And that's about it.
Thanks, Wendy.
Welcome. Thank you,
Thank you
Dawn.
very much, Wendy.
You're welcome.
Do we have any public comment?
Yes, I see Jackie Morris Lopez out there.
Thank you. Welcome, Jackie. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. My comment is I agree with Mayor Jordan, Councilman Freeman, and Edge about the allocation of the $25,000. My question as a community member is what do we get out of that? It sounds to me like it's purely for hiring purposes. So in order for us to give that money, and I do agree, reduce the amount per the services that we aren't getting or based on our needs. And we have one permanent sort of homeless or houseless person is a new term now that has been residing in our community for 3 years. And it would seem that with $25,000, how can we help this individual? And if we're not going to give $25,000, I do agree with Mayor Jordan that maybe we can put pot for helping out the businesses and not just the new ones. I think if we all, community members, staff, elected officials, pick a business, an eatery, a business, and frequent them once or twice a week, that would also help. And that's kind of what I'm going to start doing just on a personal level, because we as local residents need to support our local businesses. We need to put our money where our mouth is. We can't talk about it at official meetings and do nothing. We have to give them our business. We have to shop in town. We have to eat in town. If it's once a week, twice a month, we've got to help these people out. And I agree that, you know, we need to really have a seat at the table with a lot of the county committees, but we also need to see what is in it for San Juan Bautista. We have kind of been left out of a lot of decision-making. I'm happy that Councilwoman Edge is on COG. You know, it's a really important thing, the issue of development and future growth and where to grow and how much to grow. So I'm really thankful that she was a voice and she asked a lot of questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other public comment?
No, Mayor, there's no other public comment.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we have a couple of whomever is going to make the motion. We have a couple of things to think about. One, if we're going to make a motion. One is reducing the homeless program. I'm looking at the allocations for Exhibit C, allocation of coronavirus state and local fiscal relief funds. It's one page. I don't have a page number on that. It's the very last. Yeah, that'll work too. Thank you very much. Homeless programs, reducing that to $10,000 and then taking the $15,000 and either splitting it up or some variation for business grants and new startup businesses, whether we do it a 50-50 split or whatever. It sounded like we were all in on the school / facility joint use program of $175,000. And I'm not sure where everybody else stands on the $5,000 monies for COVID test kits. So keep that in mind when you are, and to change the language in the staff report to take my name off and put Mary's name in for urban growth boundary and sphere of influence. So with that, whomever is going to
I would like to make the motion.
make a motion.
But first, excuse me, the $10,000, that was based on, I think it was a hypothetical amount that they would be paying the executive that they would be hiring. So what I want to know is, should we make it a flat $10,000 regardless? Or should we make it a 10% of whatever the income is that they're going to be paying this executive?
So Mary, I might suggest 5% of the cost of the position not to exceed 10,000.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay. And then the new businesses, I agree with that amount. I agree with everything, honestly. I'm happy to see that the city and the school are working together so that our residents can feel comfortable to go and use the facility. I just don't want to see them be prohibited from entering the facility. If it's a weekend, or, you know, if we have something spelled out for when they can use the basketball court or the track. So.
Okay, so then with the extra $15,000 from the homeless programs, how to divvy that up between business grants and new startup businesses?
I would say that $15,000 to go to the new startup businesses and to be equally divided among them,
Among new startups, or
among new startups.
what about business grants?
Oh, no. You know, that
Anybody
maybe
else
that-
want to?
maybe we should include, maybe we should include the business, the business.
So do you want to do a 50-50? I don't know. John or Cesar, do you have?
Do you guys have any idea, John?
Yes, I have an idea. I personally think that we should leave some discretion to either Brian or Donald on how much we can grant these businesses for certain things. We just need to, we need to see that they're in business, that they're attempting to serve the public, and that the money would help them overcome certain hurdles that
Hurdles, yeah.
COVID is imposing. And just to blanket it out at $5,000 per business, each business is going to have slightly different needs. A bigger business, like one of the bigger restaurants, they're going to have a bigger
Right.
need than a small little gift shop
Right.
that only has 2 employees. So I think we need some flexibility, and I think we need to be able to trust certain members of our staff to adjust that flexibility.
Absolutely. And I'm in full agreement with that, but we have $25,000 for business grants and $20,000 for business startup. With the extra $15,000 that we're taking away from the homeless programs, we would want to put that $15,000 to those 2 grants. So how to divvy that up? Do we want to do a 50-50 split between? I'm absolutely in agreement with Don and Brian deciding how much to whom under a particular criteria, but we still have $15,000 that we have to put somewhere.
So let's
do
put it with the
50-50?
business grants.
Business, what about new startup businesses? 50-50 between both
Why
of
don't we do
them?
50-50? Do you want to do 50-50?
I vote for 50-50.
I like the 50-50.
That's
Okay.
fair.
Okay. And then the COVID tests, 5,000, keep or remove. If we remove, then we add 2,500 to both of the business grants.
What do you mean? What did you say about the COVID test?
So Don is asking for $5,000 for, I'm sorry, Don, is that 6 months worth of COVID test kits ish,
Yes.
maybe?
Yes, it's clearly an
Right.
eligible use of the funds. It's just consistent with the intent of the ARP budget.
Intent of the, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, it's just it's an eligible and consistent use for these funds. Rather than using our
Okay.
general fund to buy COVID tests, we should be using the ARP funds.
Okay.
So yes, $5,000 is 6 months worth of tests for city employees. And it is for employees who are, and when we get to 7A, we go through the whole category
Okay.
of vaccinated, boosted, and all that.
Can you believe this? There's
Jackie, please unmute yourself.
yes.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you for that, Don. Cesar, go ahead.
I just have a question. Are all this budget and everything, are we doing anything for our nonprofits?
I would imagine, I don't know if they're going to be included in applying for these business grants or new startup businesses.
That's what I'm asking. I mean, how can the nonprofits in our city have access to these funds, if any?
That's an interesting idea. If you added 15,000 to the 45, then you have 60, and you could divide the 60 equally among the 3 categories. if you wanted to include nonprofits.
Or we can put nonprofits in 15. I don't know how many nonprofits we have. My bad. I apologize for not knowing that number.
Yeah, the county, the city did not participate in grant programs for nonprofits. The foundation did.
Right. So do we want to include nonprofits, city nonprofits? They're nonprofits.
They don't make money.
But forgive me
Go
for
ahead.
saying this, but it's getting complicated.
Yes,
No.
absolutely.
So we need to do this today, right? Or tonight?
No? No, it doesn't have to be done tonight. We're under no deadline. It's just, since we're talking about the budget, I wanted to bring this budget forward. We could bring it back.
Mhm.
We bring it back so that we have the proper wording.
Well,
This-
I think we're doing good at the wording.
Yeah, this is what I
Okay.
would recommend, is that we just treat the nonprofits as another business. And they come to us, to Don or Brian, and
Okay.
they say, well, we used to put on these shows, or we used to do this or that, and we had to cancel them all because of COVID, and we lost $30,000 in ticket sales or something like that. And so, and most nonprofits will be able to show what they used to do and what they didn't do in COVID, and we'll just treat them, because most of them are a 503 dash whatever the number.
501c3.
Thank you. And so they have articles of incorporation, and they have even though they're not a for-profit business, they have a purpose.
Yeah.
For existence. And-
So
and
how about
we
the-
just treat it like a business.
Right. So how about the 15,000 going to them?
I'm okay with that.
25 for business grants, 20 for new startup businesses, and 15 for nonprofits. And Wendy, you had a comment?
Yeah, so on the final ruling, on the use of the ARP funds, they do have a segment on not-for-profit organizations and the city supporting those organizations. And the language is identical to that for supporting local businesses.
Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so the language would be
Okay,
for the resolution. I think the biggest change would be 15,000 for nonprofits. And for the homeless programs, 5% not to exceed 10,000.
okay.
I understand that.
Okay, so Mary, go ahead with your motion.
Oh, boy. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution of the city council of the city of San Juan Bautista, amending the budget with the following adjustments. $5,000 to go to COVID tests, business grants, 25,000, new startup businesses, 20,000, $15,000 to go to nonprofits, and the homeless program to get 5% of the executive's salary, but not to exceed $10,000.
Perfect. Well done. Do I have a second? Don, did you have a comment?
And 175,000 for the joint use.
Oh, sorry. And $175,000 for the joint use program.
Very good. Well done. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Councilmember Edge,
Yes,
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes,
Councilmember Jordan.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4001 with Councilmember Friels absent.
Thank you very much. That was a great discussion.
it was.
you.
I think we work very well
I
together.
have a headache.
We do. Thank you. Thank you all. Nicely done, Don. Action item 6B, adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing the city manager to approve a contract with Granicus to provide short-term rental host compliance services. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, I'll let Brian take this matter. And Brian, if Granicus is in the attendees list, Mr. Bonsu, is he from Granicus?
That's right.
Well,
Yeah, he's here to answer questions and to provide a more thorough overview if needed. We have had the short-term rental ordinance on the books for quite some time, and we've recently put together our regulatory compliance package that's been available for a couple of months also. And people aren't beating down the doors to apply. We know their short-term rentals are in operation. They do owe us a transient occupancy tax on that basis. And we looked around for host compliance services, and we're interested in having the most thorough approach possible, but we don't want to just jump in with a firm. We want to sort of test the waters, if you will. The easiest way to do that, of course, is to take some of the services, the most essential, which is to help us identify where these short-term rentals are, their addresses, using research methods that company has developed. Granicus is a digital company that provides digital services for jurisdictions ranging from citizen engagement, civic engagement, digital government, digital communications. And so they provide a broad range of services. We're interested in the host compliance services that they provide. And for those services, they will do property address identification, compliance monitoring. They'll staff a 24/7 hotline. They'll monitor rental activity and provide consulting services related to short-term rentals as well. So they provide a suite of services. And as I said, we really want to test and see how well we work together. We think that if we know where our short-term rentals are, that'll provide an opportunity for some people to come in. And I think when some people come in, that we'll get more cooperation. And then once we know that we suspect that there are, we get a report from Granicus, then our code enforcement staff will reach out to those people, and we'll be looking for applications at that point. We've already distributed 2 or 3 applications. Those people have not come back with applications, even though it's been several weeks, and in one case over a month. So we do need to do more, but we can't just simply wait for people to come in. We have to identify where they are and then do a code enforcement action. And code enforcement will be the same approach we usually take. We'll get in touch with people. We'll advise them that there is an ordinance they need to comply with. We'll give them a certain amount of time to comply, to come in, submit an application, and begin paying tax, which they have to do by our code. So our recommendation is that we just simply authorize the city manager to execute a contract. It's a relatively modest amount that we expect to cover with services, with the fee, application fees. It's $2,500 for the year. I think it's pretty reasonable to start with, and we'll see how it goes. And then Kester Bonsu is here. If you have any questions of Granicus, Kester is available to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Kester, do you have anything to add? Welcome, by the way, or do we just wait for questions?
Well, to add on simply, when it comes to host compliance and working with local governments, it's all about streamlining the approach to identifying their units, making it easier to engage with these owners that are operating, and as an end result, driving the outcome of higher compliance. We tend to find that about 10% of individuals will voluntarily comply. So clearing that delta from 10% to 100 is usually where we come in with this address identification service.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Councilmember Edge.
You know, I really don't have any questions. I just would like to say it seems very reasonable. I went over the report and all, and it makes sense to me. So anyway, thank you so much for the presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores?
No comments. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much. Councilmember
Thank you. I was just kind of wondering, how do you guys know where all these bed and breakfast places are? It's a automatic computer operation or something, or?
Yes, it does function within our AI. Basically, we're going to scan all of the publicly available websites where people list short-term rentals, whether that be Airbnb, VRBO, peopletravelingwithpets.com. We scan nearly 100 websites at this point to make sure that we have the most up-to-date total of who's posting inside of your community. And then from there, we're going to take that information and match it to publicly available information on, let's say, Zillow. Basically, pairing the information on the short-term rental website to a real address in your community. And then from behind that, we're going to add assessor records on so that you get the genuine ownership information behind that parcel of land and that address, making it a lot easier to engage with the true owner of that property on compliance with your local standards.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Do we have any public comment?
Yes, Jackie Morris Lopez.
Thank you very much. Welcome, Jackie. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, good evening. So the service that you are providing, based on our population, I think with our census, maybe it's around maybe 2,200, I'm not sure. I myself as an individual can get on Airbnb, VRBO, and look up our local stats. So I'm not quite sure whether added extra other than going to the county websites and looking at parcel property. So we do have assistant and city managers. And at one time I thought that perhaps the assistant city manager could take on this task. So what would be your cost to operate? And is it a finite contract? Once you get the numbers into the city, where does the contract end and what can you provide to us that we maybe cannot use our current staff? Like I said, I live next door to a property that has 3 Airbnbs. I get on this website any given day and I can find out who's renting. So what can you offer us?
Let me try to answer a question first, Kester. First of all, we have only so much capacity. We can't really spend the time necessary to track down all of the short-term rentals that we have in the community. I know there probably aren't a great number of those, but the process that you're talking about is very time-consuming. So, if we're going to split our time among all the things that we're doing, this is a very conservative approach among all the things that we could be doing. Secondly, the budget is a fixed amount. It's $2,500 per year. And that's as far as we're going to go at this point, and we'll see. If it's very successful, as I said in the staff report, we'll do more. But for now, that is the budget.
Thank you, Brian. Do we have any other questions from the public?
No, there are no other hands raised.
Thank you very much. I will now entertain a motion to adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing the city manager to approve a contract with Granicus to provide short-term rental host compliance services.
So moved.
Thank you very
Second.
much. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Roll call vote, please.
Yes, Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Councilmember Jordan.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes 4001 with Councilmember Friels absent.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kester. Welcome. We look forward to seeing your results.
Thank you. And I look forward to working with you as well.
Thank you, Kester.
Take care. Have a great night.
You too. Goodbye.
Thanks. Discussion items, COVID employee prevention plan, City Manager Reynolds.
Mayor Jordan, we have Carl standing by. I was wondering if the council would consider talking about 7D so that he could.
Absolutely, absolutely. Welcome, Carl. 7D water and wastewater update.
Are you ready, Carl? Sorry, I didn't mean to spring that on you.
Nope, no, quite right.
I just felt sorry for you sitting there. And I do have your slides, so I'll bring them up.
Okay. And good evening, Mayor Jordan, members of the City Council. My name's Carl Biarkey. I'm a part-time project manager for the city.
So, right, so I put this on there. It's a general discussion item as we have in the past. Last conversation we had with the council, they wanted all the details on our water treatment plant and the violations that are being incurred. And I let the council know that our operator is struggling to bring his family home from Central America right now with COVID and everything else. It's been a mess. So if we want to dive into more detail on this topic, Miles from Cypress Water is happy to come to our February meeting and we can have a second shot at it and go into more details, or we can arrange separate meetings with council members with our operator to discuss some of the details. But for now, we have a summary that I'll bring up for Carl to share with you per your request. And here it is, Carl. There we go. And okay, there you go. Okay.
Okay, great.
All right.
Well, what we want to do tonight, Council, is give you a brief update on the wastewater treatment plant. And it has a budget implication that we'll get to later on, but we'll get a little bit of background that we're pretty much familiar with. I want to talk about the permit violations as they currently stand. We're going to propose some corrective measures, some capital improvements out at the plant, and that will come with a budget amendment. Okay, background, this shouldn't be news to anybody, but our wastewater treatment plant operates under the National Point or Pollutant Discharge Elimination Permit. It's issued by the State Water Board. And this permit, what we've learned is we have a couple of issues. Number one, the infrastructure is aging. And then of course we have these persistent discharge violations. And as the council is aware, we're operating under an administrative order on consent from the EPA, and it binds the city to correct these discharge violations. Okay, I want to talk about the current permit violations in this table. And we currently we anticipate that we get about 33 per year, and that number comes from some of these parameters are reported on monthly and some of them quarterly, and they are coming up time and again, so that kind of adds up to about 33 violations per year. The parameters listed on the left, the permit level threshold is there on the center column, and then I'm going to briefly talk about what the source is. So as we all know, chloride and sodium. Those are the salts that get into our sewage treatment plant, and those are the result of our hard water source, the water softeners that our community uses, and the mineral concentration due to water conservation. You know, when you conserve water at your household interior, you send a more concentrated waste to the treatment plant. Total suspended solids, that's really a summertime warm weather issue for us when algae builds up. Unionized ammonia, that comes when we have excessive sludge entering the effluent and insufficient aeration. And then lastly, chronic toxicity. We don't actually know what's causing this. Our wastewater treatment plant manager performed a study following the state's guidelines on how to determine where that toxicity is coming from, and the study was inconclusive. So we're not sure where that's coming from unfortunately, right now.
All right. And Carl, we didn't talk about total dissolved solids, TDS. That just occurred to me as I look at this. And what our operator shared with me is that we've been in compliance for the past few months on our total dissolved solids. Right.
Yeah. That's good news. And that's why I didn't show up on this little chart, is because we're actually now in compliance with that. So we worked closely, Don and I, with our plant operator. This is Cypress Water Systems. And here's some recommendations that we have that certainly they're not going to solve all of our problems, but they will have a positive impact on the treatment plant itself. Number one is a new aerator. And what this addresses is the total suspended solids and the unionized ammonia. We want to upgrade our filters, addressing again, the total suspended solids and the whole disinfection process. We want to upgrade our sand media at the headworks of the plant, which addresses total suspended solids and the disinfection process. And then we have a control panel that we'd like to upgrade to improve the filter control system and the overall plant efficiency. And these recommendations will all reduce the load on the UV disinfectant system. And so what we're recommending here is these are the costs for the aerator, $20,000, the media upgrade, $2,500, control panel, $10,000. Contingency, because we don't have a real detailed handle on the cost, but we have a contingency in there, $2,500. So total recommended budget adjustment of $35,000. And we believe these improvements could reduce our annual violations by about 25%. And we should also point out that the salt problems, the chloride and the sodium, we just don't have the capacity to fix those with any minor capital investments. Those are going to take the project that we're recommending, shipping our waste over to Hollister, or a complete plant renovation, and we're not going that direction right now.
Right.
So it's a brief presentation, and we're here to take any questions.
So Carl, we amended the staff report on budget amendments and added the $35,000 to that Friday afternoon after we talked with Miles. So it was part of the resolution. It wasn't part of the ARP funds. Obviously, it was a separate appropriation from the.
Don, you're drifting. I can't hear you that well.
The budget amendment has already been approved with the adoption of the resolution. We amended the resolution late Friday afternoon and got that out to the council. So it was part of Exhibit C. So that had $35,000 in it from the enterprise fund. So it wasn't a subject of discussion tonight, but it was in the resolution previously approved. I don't know if anyone noticed that.
Yep. Thank you very much. Questions, comments, and concerns from the council. Councilmember Edge.
I just would, by implementing all these items, how soon can it be done?
I would guess everything that we've seen here, there's a lead time to purchase, say like a control panel and all that stuff. I'd say, Don, I don't know, within 6 months we could have this in place.
Yeah, I would say 120 days. Yeah, it's 90 to 120 days, depending on supply shortages and so forth, whatnot. It's electronic, so the control panel in particular, and the aerator may take a little extra time.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores?
No question, but thank you, Carl. Good presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, thank you. Carl, about 4 years ago, 2017, 2018, the city contracted with a group of mechanical engineers out of Carlsbad, California called DUEC or something like that. I can't remember.
Dudek.
DUDEC, okay.
Dudek.
Anyway, and at that time, one of their big recommendations was the control panel. And I was under the impression that the control panel was replaced the following year or soon thereafter. So I'm wondering, why did the control panel only last 3 years? Or was it undersized or underspec'd, or what's what? You know, so, sorry to lay that on you, but.
I can answer that, Carl. There's more than one control panel at the plant. The control panel that manages the pumps and the high power systems, that has been repaired, John. We understood, Carl and I understood that this control panel was specifically for the filtration system.
Yes.
So it's a smaller, lower key item, but it's never been addressed. So it's an attempt to improve the filtration system specifically.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. So it has been several years since upgrades, and any improvement will be good on these fines. Best case scenario for getting this taken care of?
As far as time,
Yeah.
maybe 90 days, but it depends. I'm having a hard time getting contractors on the work site. Frankly, they're so busy. So we'd have to make sure. I want to wait till Miles gets back from Cyprus, and he should be on a plane today, with our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And so,
Good luck with that with the weather.
I
everywhere.
can give you an update. I can give you an update by Friday when we have a chance to speak with him.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you very much for that. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns from the public? Trish?
No, Mayor, there's no hands raised.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Carl. Sorry it's so late.
No worries. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay, COVID employee prevention plan.
So the COVID prevention plan is something that we've been working on, of course, on and off over the past 2 years, and it addresses how to manage employees, how a business is designed through Cal OSHA and the federal OSHA, Office of Safety programs. And they've been in flux because basically our state is one that can adopt its own rules, Cal OSHA, but they have to be the same or stricter than the federal OSHA. And when the federal OSHA drafted a COVID prevention plan for business owners to follow last fall, it was challenged in the courts, and not until recently did the courts rule against it. It required that employers with more than 100 employees require all their employees to be vaccinated or tested, and the court system struck that down, the federal court system, but it stayed in the state Cal OSHA program. So the plan that I'm sharing with you in this agenda item, 15-20 page plan, addresses all kinds of conditions from employees without a vaccination to those that have had different kinds of vaccinations to those that have had both shots but no booster shot, and both shots and a booster shot. And then whether they got sick on their own from a family member or some non-work related illness, and what to do, and the protocol of what to do should they come in close contact with someone who has been found to be testing positive. So it also applies to city contractors and what to do with city contractors. I'll share with you today that our building official, Four Leaf, had 3 employees in close contact with positive testing friends over the weekend. And so our building official and our permit technician are in quarantine right now. We also discovered that an employee in our maintenance yard that did not arrive to work with the rest of staff later found out today that he has tested positive, and he was immediately isolated and sent home, and has this protocol in front of him, so he knows the process that we're following to prevent a COVID outbreak amongst our employees, and to make sure that our facilities are clean and well maintained and inspected. So all these things are outlined in the CPP. And you know, the way things are, this was changed at lunch today. And so we should change this at lunch today. And I just want to just share with the city council real fast what this looks like. So this came out January 14th, modified the January 6th CPP. So if you wonder, at least we got something out now. We got something that our employees can use. And this is just a really good summary. All workers that test positive for COVID-19, regardless of vaccination status, are excluded from the workplace for at least 5 days. So when you hear on the news that there's staffing shortages, this is the gist of it. This disease in its current variation is so contagious that it's causing staffing shortages. And it talks about who needs to wear a mask, who doesn't have to wear a mask, and for how long. And then it goes down the left-hand side, unvaccinated workers. If the worker cannot test or declines to test, it's a minimum 10-day quarantine. So these safeguards are in place in the COVID policy now. And this amendment modifies just a little bit the status of workers received a booster are fully vaccinated, but not yet booster eligible. So there's all these different categories. And then of course, lastly, it talks about when workers are required to be excluded from work due to work-related COVID exposure, they must be paid exclusion pay. So obviously the employee who shows up after being gone all weekend, who's positive today, is not eligible for this because obviously they did not catch the COVID-19 exposure while they were at work. So these, it's good to have a policy in place. Again, the COVID prevention plan only applies to businesses that are 100 or larger. But I think it's good for our city to adopt this policy just so that we have a protocol to follow. So, so that's the purpose of bringing this forward. We all ordered test kits today through United States Postal Service. So I got my confirmation that my order got placed today. We all get 4 tests, and so that's where we're at. I don't know if the council or community has any questions about city employees and how we're going to manage COVID in this current situation. But that's my report for now.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Edge?
Well, I think you've got everything covered, John, you know, with what you're going to do, and then getting that chart that'll help you. But, you know, I truly believe that anybody that is not vaccinated needs to be tested every Monday when they come into work, and they need to prove that they're negative. And so, I mean, there's nothing we can do about the people that don't believe in being vaccinated. And I think that we're gonna continue to have these variants come up because we have people, you know, walking around amongst us who have not been vaccinated. But I think you've got a handle on it. So thank you. And that's it.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores?
Thank you, Don. I think you got it covered there.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, thank you. I think that's agreeing with Mary and Caesar. It looks like a really good policy. I would add that I also ordered my family's test from the UPS website earlier today. It was very, very easy. It took less than 30 seconds. Everyone should do it. You should always want to test. You should want to know what your health is. That's just common sense. No matter if it's COVID or any other disease. If I have a cold or cancer, whatever, you need to know. Let's go for it. I agree with Mary. Everyone needs to be tested every week if they're not going to get vaccinated, and they need to be encouraged to get vaccinated for their own good, as well as everybody else's. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was what I referred to earlier this evening. Website, another website is special, special.usps.com. Excuse me, and it does take mere moments to do it, and you get four tests per household. Thank you for the presentation, Don. Do we have any public comments on this?
Yes, Jackie Morris Lopez.
Thank you. Welcome, Jackie. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. So I have several comments, and I think I'll start off with a question to Dawn, our city manager. Do you have a specific staff person that has maybe a healthcare or some sort of medical background that will be coordinating the testing and the resulting of the employees that come in every Monday? And would you be interested in working with our local public health department to get maybe a small protocol on top of that in regards to testing? That's my question. And my comment is that since we are such a small city, you know, 1 or 2 staff members that test positive could cripple our services. And I'm just kind of concerned as a healthcare provider and a resident with such a small staff that it would really cripple our services. Why are we not considering that they are working with the public and they can put the public in danger, not just their coworkers, that maybe San Juan can take the higher road and strongly recommend vaccinations for our staff? And your comment about whether or not this individual that tested positive today on Monday, that you were certain it wasn't acquired at work. Well, if you test every Monday, you don't know if this person was exposed to someone midweek or the end of the week that was also at work. So just doing once a week testing isn't capturing true facts of how this nature of this virus incubates and spreads. So I think you're going out on a limb to make that assertion. You have to be very cautious. And the thing about the 5-day stay at home, we know in the initial part of the virus that it was recommendation of 10 days. And I also thought there was a state mandate that anybody that's indoors has to wear a mask. So I don't see that as being an option. And I feel as a healthcare provider, the 5 days is really short. There's also some leeway that you can recommend the additional 5 days. And like I said, we have such a small crew that, you know, we could shut down our city, very important services. And I really wish that maybe you could amend and make it tailored fit to our needs as a small city with a limited staff to provide our integral services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any further discussion on this? Okay. Sorry, hang on, just trying to get to the last page of this. Sit by. I can neither confirm nor deny. So is there any recommendation from the council on this plan?
On the COVID plan that
Mhm.
Dawn just presented to us?
Yeah, yep.
Um,
The additional suggestions of Jackie or anything else?
you know, I
like
mean,
that? Correct.
I felt that, we should stick with the 10 days, but I know that when somebody's been sick and it's been 5 days, and if they test negative, they're allowed to go back. But I think that we need to be very cautious and make sure that we do get a negative test back from them. It just, it's hard to stay on top of everything. And as, Jackie Morris did say, all we need is for one person in our staff to get sick, and it would cripple everybody. God forbid that would happen. But anyway, let's just hope that, everybody wears their masks and follows the protocols. And I think, Dawn, you have a good plan in place. So, just do your very best.
I have a quick comment.
Go ahead, John.
As you know, sometimes my consulting work does infringe or get out into the health and safety area. In fact, a lot of it is on health and safety. So a week or two ago, I was in a conversation with a person in Silicon Valley at a business, and we were talking about kind of this same subject. And at that time, the CDC had just changed to 5 days, and the state of California had not changed and kept it to 10. And I frankly don't pay attention as close as you do, Don, to all the, let's say, the myriad of conflicting orders coming out of the state Department of Public Health, and coming out of the CDC, and then coming out of the whatever other federal agency is weighing in. It gets pretty darn confusing. So I'm trying to ascertain, has the state moved to a 5-day standard now completely? Or are they still, as of like when I thought last week, when they were still on 10, even though the federal government was on 5?
So for unvaccinated people and also people unwilling to be tested, they stick to a 10-day protocol. And so that sheet I'm happy to share with you, we've shared with all of our employees, just came out at lunch today, does allow vaccinated people who test negative to come back with a mask on after 5 days. My concern is changing Cal OSHA's policy may put us at risk of breaking laws and violating employee rights. So I kind of want to hang my hat on Cal OSHA's policy.
I do too. I
agree.
If they're 10 days, I want to go with their 10 days. I completely agree.
So we will amend the policy as the state amends its policy.
Right.
As per state guidelines, ... Yeah, I absolutely. All right, thank you very much. Okay, formation of a standing committee on homelessness with the Office of Education, City of Hollister and San Benito County.
I have just a few slides on this idea that came up during the last intergovernmental committee. As Vice Mayor Flores represented, he is the chair of the Homeless Coalition's Leadership Council, which is great. He sits with other mayors in Monterey County and Santa Cruz County to make decisions about the priorities of the Homeless Coalition.
Co-chair, Don.
Co-chair, I'm sorry, I promoted you. Sorry, thanks, Cesar.
Alejo chair.
Cesar also attends County Homeless Provider Committee meetings, which are, according to Enrique Ariola, the Deputy Director of Public Health, he staffs the homeless services that are provided in our county. And he and I talked, and he described the Homeless Provider Committee as including everyone, the nonprofits, public health, and a wide array of up to 30 different providers. So when the intergovernmental committee has a standing item on their agenda regarding homelessness, the mayor and Hollister suggested that they consider forming a standing committee with city, county, and Office of Education. And when I questioned that, gee, we already have a couple committees on this stuff. Do we need another one? He thought we did to look closely at funding and priorities, more of a streamlined committee than the other two that I mentioned above. So it was Mayor Jordan who suggested that each city have 2 representatives, and we succeeded in having a recommendation from the Intergovernmental Committee for 2 members from San Juan Bautista to be appointed, 2 members from Hollister to be appointed, and 2 members from the county, and then 1 from the Office of Education. They have a special homeless program in the Office of Education for homeless students. So this is all in the auspices of a new revised 5-year Lead Me Home plan. It used to be called the Plan to End Homelessness. Now it's called the Plan to Manage Homelessness and Reduce Homelessness. And within that 5-year plan, there are 3 strategy areas. I gave the executive summary to the council in the staff report. The whole Lead Me Home plan is maybe 25 pages. But the 3 strategy areas in summary is increase participation, get more people involved, which certainly this committee would do. Improve performance of response to the system. So now the word is navigation, helping people who need housing to navigate the system and find the resources that are available. The state is coming through with more and more resources. So it's really important that we get the resources delivered to the street where they belong, and expand services to unsheltered individuals, which our shelter in Hollister, we've contributed, as Mary pointed out earlier, over $200,000 to the shelter. How do we expand services further? So that would be the intent of the committee. The committee has not been formed yet. I believe we're the first of the 3 jurisdictions to talk about it. So I'll bring the results of this conversation to Hollister and the county in the next IG meeting. And Councilmember Freeman and Mayor Jordan can share the conversation with them at that time. Be the first Thursday in February. So we're also, for your information, attending the homeless census training, and we'll be participating in the homeless census January 26th, which means getting out at 3 or 4 in the morning and identifying those locations in our jurisdiction where homeless people may reside. I've done this myself a number of times in South Monterey County. It's very cold usually if it's not raining, and it's a really hard job to do. But this is the only way we can get a point in time count of where the homeless people are. And after attending the training, the code enforcement officer described to me that people living in RVs will be considered homeless. And this means that we have more homeless in our community than meets the eye. Mokelumne is not the only street where homeless person resides in a car. All the people, there's a number of residents at the trailer park on San Juan Hollister Road who are living in RVs. And he warned me, cautioned me, so I'm cautioning the council that we'll see a higher number of homeless people in our city than I think we expect to. So that's one outcome of that. Number of RVs that are pretty permanently located in the trailer park on San Juan Hollister Road. Generally, this is good. You know, if you have a homeless population, you want every homeless person to be counted, because that means you're going to get more HUD money, more federal money to address the issue. So I don't see that it's necessarily a bad thing. It gives a more realistic picture and puts the real story on the real scenario. So we'll see if that helps us get more money. That's the whole idea, is to get more money. And we've already discussed the funding for this. I think the council made a good decision. We don't know what the homeless coordinator position will cost yet. So we'll see a job description. I think that's an excellent idea. And maybe we'll have some say in what the job description says before we contribute 5%. So with that, just discuss the whole idea of having a standing committee, whether or not that's a good idea. And at some point in the near future, appointing 2 members of the council to that committee, noting that CESARS already sits on 2 of these committees. So with that, Mayor, that's what I have to report. And if members of the Intergovernmental Committee want to talk to the conversation, it'd be great to hear directly from Councilmember Freeman or the Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Councilmember Edge?
So, if Cesar is, he's involved with the homeless, does that automatically put him in with one of these, being one of these people on this committee? No, he's shaking his head.
Not necessarily, yeah.
Not necessarily. I'm co-chair of the council, but that's in case Alejo's not there.
Okay.
And the other is that I attend all the meetings with the homeless
With,
meetings with Enrique Arreola.
yeah, right.
That's it.
Yeah, I think not necessarily, but potentially a good idea. Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores, questions, comments, concerns?
No,
Them
no,
subtract-
I don't have any concerns. I mean, I'm doing my job there, going to these meetings and getting the information that we need and voting on things that need to be voted on. And I keep a close watch to make sure that we get something out of it. I mean, San Juan has to be included. And that's my main focus, is to keep San Juan included.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman?
Thank you. Just following up on what Cesar said, that's great. I also think that this emphasis from the Intergovernmental Committee, frankly, it's going to be mostly on budgets and how much money can the county and the two cities throw at the problem to make a difference. And I have there's no magic answer to that. And in fact, all the money's been thrown at homeless hasn't really improved the situation any in the past 20 years. It's frankly gotten worse and worse. And that's not just here, but that's all over the state of California. It's everywhere. And part of it is rising home prices and rising rents drive the poorer people out of their homes because they can no longer they miss a rent payment because they got sick or something, or for a myriad of reasons, and all of a sudden they're homeless. And you know, it's tough right now because the landlord can take that home and re-rent it for $1,000 more per month, or sell the home and make $800,000. And it's just, you know, the rising home prices, they are good for people who own homes, myself included, but they are bad for a lot of other people. So, you know, it's one of those issues that's really tough. And I think we need to be at the table and work with Hollister and the county, because they don't always have the right ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's why we have 2 seats at the table this time, instead of just the one that little tiny San Juan doesn't always get. Don, you said the trailer park RVers are considered homeless. Do they not have an address? What makes an RV park homeless residential center?
I think the definition is they're living in structures that are not meant to be permanent housing. An RV is not designed to be permanent housing. And because of the cost of housing, it's obviously a less expensive way to live. And so there are, I don't know how many, I haven't been in there for quite a while, but I do know that there are some other permanent looking RVs in the RV park.
Yeah.
Yeah, fifth wheels and those. And
You know, I know 2 people that live there, and one ended up there not by her choice, in exactly what John just said. Rent went up and she ended up out. So that's how she ended up there. The other one, he sold his property, he sold his home, and he chooses to live there. And so, you know, I don't understand why he would be considered homeless, because he really isn't.
Well, I'll have to look up the HUD definition for homeless. I used to know it. I used to have it memorized. I don't know, Deb, if you've come across it recently, but it requires that you're living under a roof that's intended to be permanent housing.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
yeah, I didn't either, because it's like a lifestyle now,
Yeah.
like Thousand Trails,
Uh-huh.
where you stay at
Yeah.
one park for either an annual membership, or you're in for a certain amount of time and out for a certain amount of time and in for a certain amount of time. So yeah, kind of interesting to hear that.
Let me get the definition to the council. I'll talk to Rich or go to Enrique and I'll get you the actual definition.
Okay.
I think something that
Thank
has
you.
to do with it is that they can only rent the space for so much time, then they have to move out.
Right. That's
But
where like a county campground would be.
Yeah.
For so many weeks.
Move out or move to a different
Move
space?
to a different location.
Different
and
location. They'll move them to a different spot, I guess. I don't know, just to get under the law, but they're not supposed to be in the whole property over 6 months or something like that.
6 weeks even, yeah.
Well, there's, I hate to break the news, but there's been people out the Mission RV Park who've lived there for 10
Forever.
years.
Yeah,
Let alone 6
Over.
months.
yeah.
We know that. We know that.
And they're not moving.
No, they're not. They're staying there.
Yeah,
They're not homeless though.
No,
No.
they're not.
But if they're living in an
They
RV.
live in an RV though.
Yeah.
Hey, my brother lives in an RV and he's married too.
so yeah, that's an interesting take on everything. I mean, we have a couple of RV parks in our surrounding area, not necessarily within the confines of San Juan, but
Right.
yeah, interesting for that. Okay, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Trish,
Yes, we have Jackie Morris Lopez.
thank you very much. Jackie, you have 3 minutes. Welcome.
Thank you. Might as well be an active participant on all issues
Go
discussed.
for it.
Anyway, I just want to say, put in a plug for the Mission RV Park. I think they're a very, very good San Juan Bautista establishment.
Mhm.
I know they had a lot of hassle when they first, I remember them when I was younger, when the previous owner, well, I guess the deceased husband, started the park. And I just think they're a wonderful place. And I think that it's kind of silly that we're saying that these are homeless people. You know, they choose to live in an RV. Like Mary said, some people have chosen to downsize. Maybe they don't have family. They don't want the upkeep and the expense of a home. So this is their lifestyle. And as far as I can see, they're very stand-up people that live there. It's quiet, it's clean, it's beautiful. You know, they pay rent. I don't see how this can be homelessness. They have rents. You know, I'm sure they pay for water and electricity as well. And they own their vehicles or their fifth wheel trailers or RVs or whatnot. But I don't consider them homeless at all. They're in a designated area with proper sanitation, water, running water, clean water, laundry services, a little market. You know, so I don't think we need to go down the road to point them as being a negative element. You know, I don't understand the purpose of why we want to call them homeless. I disagree with that. Thank you.
Thank you. And might be a misnomer, but I don't think we're saying anything derogatory about the residents there. They are residents. They have rents. They have an address. They get their mail. We're just trying to figure out the actual definition of homelessness. And if we're going to put people on this group, having Cesar as part, and this is strictly up to you and the rest of the council, but as Cesar is already in on a couple of committees, I think his input would be he'd be a good advocate for a voice for our city. Just a comment. And we don't have to decide anything tonight. But thank you for that, Dawn. COVID-19 update. Like we haven't talked about COVID-19 enough.
Right. Just a real quick, basically, these are just really scary and stressful times, we know, and trying to be patient with one another, because we don't always understand all the stresses that we have going on in our lives. These days, when you sneeze, you have to explain that you have an allergy or something. It's like there's this whole new stress that's upon us. So I just don't have to point that out. I just want to encourage people to be patient and empathetic. The whole mandatory indoor mask policy, I was working with Rich today. I've heard stories about the windmill market, so he paid them a visit, and he's going to pay closer attention. We're printing up some new signs for business owners. During the business forum, some business owners were concerned that not all the businesses were following the same policy, requiring people inside their business to wear masks. So we're going to go through and be enforcing and reminding business owners of the laws as they stand today. And just notice that the following the policies varies greatly across the state. I was at a gymnastics tournament in Oroville, and half of the gymnastics teams were wearing them, and half were not wearing masks. So my wife, being a doctor, was really upset about that. So I agree with Cesar when he says he's just going to stay home and let this thing blow over. It makes sense because it's really complicated out there. And so I think we've already talked about staffing shortages becoming more common. And sure enough, by the end of the day today, we had a staff member go home and isolate. So that's it. I just put COVID on the agenda the way I did water. I don't have anything more to say about it. I just wanted the community to know that we're doing our best to enforce the laws as we know it. We've reached out to public health, and she basically said, Tracy Belton basically said, yeah, you're on your own. So here we go. And so Rich and I talked about that today, and he was out working with businesses today to make sure everyone was following the same rules. So that's where we are in our community, and I don't have anything else to add to COVID tonight.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Edge.
Oh, thank you, John. I'm glad to know that we're going to be contacting the business owners and in particular Windmill, because they need to have their sign out there letting people know that they have to wear their mask inside the facility, and they need to have masks available for those who say, I forgot it, because they can't reject it. If they don't want to put it on, then they don't need to go in and buy groceries. They can order it online. That's all I have to say.
You okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores.
Well, my wife and I just got a big box of N95s, so we're staying. No, I want to thank all of you for this, this group participation here, team participation, and I think I don't think, but I believe that we have done a lot of changes in this town, and they're all been positive, and we're just moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Thank you. I really don't have anything else to say. It's confusing times out there, and I think we just got to work the best we can and get vaccinated and wear your mask when you have to. And these days it sounds like it's, if you're inside a public building of any kind, you better be wearing your mask. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, some are saying it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. So the more that we can do to protect ourselves, our families, and others around us is huge. By now, I'm sure it's affected everybody in some way, shape, or form, whether it's self or family. As I'm hearing coughs, and I myself, I myself had muted for a moment to cough. So yeah, it's crazy times. Just want to make sure that we're following these policies as well, that everybody inside buildings, whether it's City Hall or Public Works or I guess those are our only two, the library, waltzed inside our buildings all day, every day. Questions, comments, and concerns from the community? I'm just going to go for this one. Jackie, welcome. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Ah!
I can see her hand raised.
Maybe she forgot to put it down.
No, it just went up. Go ahead, Jackie.
Everyone stay safe. My message is please get vaccinated and boosted. Often it's really slow process to get vaccinated in our county or tested. I encourage you to check out Walmart in Gilroy. My family was able to walk in there without an appointment, get a booster shot and a flu shot. It's free, and they're very customer friendly. So please get vaccinated and boosted and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank goodness we're all boosted and vaccinated.
Do we have any other public comment, Trish?
No, Mayor, there's no other hands raised.
Thank you very much. Future agenda items.
I
Mary,
can't think of anything right now.
Cesar, do you have any? Thank you. John, do you have?
Not at the present time.
Okay. Thank you all. Final comments from the city council. Council member Edge, final comments.
A great meeting. We got a lot accomplished, and I'm really happy to be a part of this team. You guys make me feel warm and fuzzy.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Flores.
Well, I'm not warm and fuzzy, but I want to thank all of you for, the time that, we're all volunteers in this thing and we want the best for our town. And I think we're all doing a good job. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Thank you. Just like to follow up on what Mary and Cesar said. Yes, I agree with the above. Getting back to the COVID, one of the things that I think we have to look forward to is, I'm not often right in my predictions, but I said in November that you need to be careful because this COVID is seasonal. That was one of the few things I've been absolutely right on. So it's probably going to last another, the rough part's going to last another month or two, hopefully only a month, but maybe longer. So just keep staying safe out there, please.
And then we have spring break.
Yep. Outside, and the COVID doesn't do that well outside. It doesn't spread that well outside. So that's good news.
Yeah. Thank you all very much. Don, great ideas on the art money. That was amazing. Stay safe, stay well, everybody. If you're traveling, be safe. City manager, any finals?
It sounds like we need a COVID Groundhog Day where the COVID groundhog comes out.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right,
And
thank you.
and again, sorry, before I get to where'd she go? Where'd our city manager go? I mean, our city
attorney, where did she go?
What?
She left us already.
I was watching her. She was frozen. And
Retiring already. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
With us.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, as before I got to her, I just wanted again to thank our city attorney for her years of service. There she is.
There she is. Deborah.
Sorry. Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
Well, I want to thank you all for your kind words tonight, and I'm very sorry to be leaving San Juan. I really like your little town, and maybe you'll see me in the future sitting on a bar stool at Daisy's or. I know my colleague Bob will do a great job for you, so I'll bring the staff report to you next month to appoint him. And he knows everything that's going on there, so there wouldn't even be a gap. And
Okay.
I know he'll do a great job.
Well, we want to wish you the very best, and thank you so much for all your help. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done for us over the years. We appreciate you. Trish, thank you
And
very much
Trish.
for all of you have done. I know we have you both for another month and a half or so, but we really appreciate everything that you've done in the years of service that you've put in here. Amazing little city, but wow, the
Yeah.
issues, for as tiny as we are, we have some pretty grand issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we appreciate you both, and Julie as well. Sorry, Julie wasn't here on the meeting this evening. But have fun, and we get to say this one more time to you. Trish, do you have anything to say on your way out tonight?
No, I really appreciated my time working for this city. It's been an eye opener. And
How many years?
I'm
How
gonna have
many
to get it.
years?
I'm 17.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm gonna have to get reintroduced to Hollister. I've spent so much time in San Juan. It's my home.
Well, you're gonna have to move over here.
Yeah.
Retire.
Hollister, what?
You
Hollister?
can't afford it.
Then I can run for city council.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you can.
Have fun with that. Have
I'll
fun.
vote for you. I'll vote for
Pardon?
you.
You
Oh,
would get
great.
it.
Hollister, pal.
So thank you for all your help. All you do for me. Thank you.
A pleasure.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So
moved.
second.
Thank you very much. Final vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Nice.
Unanimous.
Aye, aye, aye.
Aye.
Safe. Thank you
Everybody
all.
have a good
Thanks,
evening.
Don.
Good night, all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Deb.
Hours and 27
Brian.
minutes.
Thanks, Deb.
Hey.